we spoke with Philip Rivers. He said he practiced this week with both gloves on. Expect to see that. He does not expect, though, that this cold will have any effect on this game, Jim.
All right, and again, it's not breezy out there, Tony. I don't think the weather's going to be an impact.
I agree with you. I really believe it just means that the ball doesn't travel as far in the kicking game, and I think quarterbacks understand you got to get the ball up a little sooner if you're throwing go routes on the sideline. Otherwise, these quarterbacks will knife it right through this wind and this cold.
Interesting decision. Patriots win the toss and elect to receive. What do you think of that?
That's shocking. We don't normally see that, but I can tell you, Belichick has a reason for everything.
And the Chargers signed Nick Rose just a couple of days ago.
That might be why. They might want to test his nerves right now, something as small as that.
They're looking for touchbacks. This was all about trying to keep it away from Cordero Patterson, and that comes off the hands of Devlin and goes out of bounds. So it wasn't a long kick by any means, but it was effective as the Patriots will start from inside the 20. Let's bring out Tom Brady in what is now his, well, 38th all-time postseason game. It's staggering. His coach, including his games as a Cleveland coach many years ago, 40th for Belichick. But Tom Brady, 27 wins in the postseason, the most yardage, the most touchdown passes. He's got every record. Trying to add to it today. Play action to begin. Going to come out of the backfield and hit White. James White weaves for about 8. Now White is such a weapon, with 87 catches on the season. And you look at this offense, and White's going to be a big part of it. And this is a Charger defense, by the way, Tony, that gave up more receiving yards to backs in the receiving game than any team in the league this year.
Well, it's because of their system. They play 90% zone coverage. In my experience, that's not how you beat a Tom Brady team. But you got to stick with who you are. But today, if they don't change up a little something, and they did with the Ravens last week, they need to do something a little different today. And we're going to see if we can figure it out what they do.
Tony Michel in the backfield on 2nd and 2. And he's going to try the right side. He's going to get jammed. He's going to set back the yard as Phillips comes up to make the stick. And Kyle Emanuel there as well. And Cuz Bradley's defense, as you'll see the names go across the screen here, they've had 30 sacks on the road this year, including 7 sacks last week at Baltimore when they limited the Ravens to only 11 first downs.
Well, everyone knows about the 7 DBs they played last week. You're seeing right now in the middle of your screen a lot of 30 numbers, 27. A lot of defensive backs on that football field.
7 in all, Tony. 7, as you said. And here's the 3rd down throw. It's Edelman picking up the first, right in front of Desmond King. So they went with the 7 DB alignment, and there was easy separation there for Edelman to pick up the first.
It's just a great job by Edelman. He gets to run almost a pick route by Gronk. Gronk runs the route, and he reads what the defender does. When you get man coverage, the defender has to choose. Do I go underneath or over the top? And these guys have been doing that a long time.
Hogan in the slot to the left as Gronkowski moves around a little bit on 1st down. And again, they get to the ball carrier before he can get back to the line of scrimmage. This time, Derwin James, the rookie who might be the defensive rookie of the year. Man, do the Patriots and everyone else around the league have a lot to say. Flattering remarks about Derwin James.
You can't say enough about him. He is absolutely the real deal. People have been trying to talk about who he reminds them of, and it's hard. I think he's like Sean Taylor from the Redskins. He does a little bit of everything. We call him a positionless player. You put him where you think the ball's going to go most often during your game.
Here's a 2nd and 11. Brady. Able to flip it over for the completion to Michel, and he's going to be a long yard short of the first. Picked up 9.
And you see play action, and Brady almost has Gronk up the seam and gets down to the back. But this zone defense consistently is going to make you drop it underneath. And if Brady has to hold this ball, Bosa and Ingram are fantastic pass rushers. Ingram on the bottom right there had one of the best games last week. And he does a great job putting pressure on opposing quarterbacks every time.
Here's 3rd and 2. We'll call it. And they pick up again a 1st down on 3rd down. As is James White, who was lined up as a receiver, makes the grab on the quick throw by Brady, who's hit his first 4 passes.
And this is really just a wide receiver screen. And the other 3rd down and short was a similar approach, but it looks like a route. These are actually built in. We're throwing it to this guy, block for him right afterward. I think in this game, Tom Brady needs to change up how they throw it. It's a 7-step, and then it's a handoff, and then it's a screen, and then it's a slant, and then it's a 3-step, and then it's a 5-step. Never give them the same feeling of rhythm throughout the game.
Going to go out of the gun here on first down, and he's able to get the ball to White again, and he's into the secondary to the 35-yard line of the Chargers. David Andrews, one of those who helped free him for 17. That was a pass play. Third catch already for White.
Well, it's just a simple, the guard's going to pull from the left, and you're going to see the back come straight behind him. And when they pull across, actually it's the center this time. And when you do that, you're basically handing it off, but it looks like a pass to the defense, so the linebackers drop back.
You see Adrian Phillips is down on the field. We'll step aside for a moment. Adrian Phillips favoring that left side, the left arm. He had 2 takeaways in the win against the Ravens last week. Big part of what they do in that secondary.
Well, that's going to make the 7 DBs a little more difficult. You see now you got a linebacker on the field when they used 7 defensive backs last time.
On first down, here's the handoff to Michelle, and he's got another big chunk play. As the early pace and rhythm on this opening drive is exactly what Josh McDaniels and the Patriots wanted to establish.
Well, you want just a simple outside zone, but the difference is, this is why the Patriots are so difficult to beat. It's not like they have these incredible players right now, but system-wise, they just keep you off balance with everything. Josh McDaniels has been an unsung hero for a long time. He is an outstanding football coach.
Here's another handoff, trying the left side this time. And it looked like it was going to be a no-gainer, but Michelle makes 5 out of it as the Patriots continue to march, having already picked up 4 first downs. You saw Rivers anxious to get his chance to get on the field and get started for that Charger offense. That's an amazing thing to see, that the Patriots have not had an opening drive touchdown in the last 7 postseason games. You wouldn't have thought.
Yeah, that's surprising.
2nd and 5. Patterson comes over. They fake to him. Brady steps up. Pass jarred loose. Edelman the target. And Adai has a thing to say.
So this is what you're going to see a ton. You're going to see a motion back here. Now watch how many guys are going to flood this side of the screen. They're trying to put 4 guys on one side. This is when you go against zone teams. They're going to snap the football, and 4 people go to one side, and they get the 5th coming across. It puts a lot of people in small areas. You're going to have to adjust if you're the Chargers. That's hard to defend when you only have 3 or 4 people.
3rd and 5, having already converted a couple of times on this drive on 3rd downs. Brady standing in the pocket, and they've got another conversion. Zips it in there to White, who has a yard to spare, and they'll move the chains again.
Well, watch the middle linebacker. He's going to take, and he's going to be right here, and he's got to fly over there, but Brady does such a good job. And that was a die. He plays down inside there. Brady does such a good job with his eyes. And he makes you just a half a second later than you can normally be.
2 tight end formation for New England as Dwayne Allen comes in with Gronk, and he'll pitch it over to Michelle, who hurls and is walloped by Pillard. No gain.
Pillard 50 is going to be in the middle. You see both of these 2 right here. This is when they get in big personnel. You're going to see multiple linebackers on the game. But he gets all the way across the field.
Leaps over a die. Pillard then there to meet him.
And that's the kind of game this needs to be for the Chargers. They have to shut the run down, I think, almost completely. Make Brady throw it 45 times.
2nd and 10. Completion down to the 9, and another 3rd down on the way. A drive that is using up a good part of this opening quarter. Already have held the football for 6 minutes and 40 seconds.
Well, and they're keeping them off balance. And this is why when you go against the Patriots, you have to make them one-dimensional in some capacity, because they're going to throw it fast, hold the ball, take a shot, empty formation. Now we're in tight formation. Now we're tossing it. It's just really hard to deal with. They're going to be a motion here. Brady's finding out who's guarding him. Derwin James is on him. Here we go.
3rd and 6. In the pocket to the end zone, incomplete. Oh, and a flag comes out. Gronkowski was the target.
Pass interference. Defense, number 26. That foul occurred in the end zone. The ball will be placed at the 1-yard line. Automatic first down.
So Ron Torbett calling it there on Casey Hayward, who had tangled up with Gronkowski most of that route, all the way up until the ball was in the area.
Well, the hard part is it's an incredibly smart route by New England. He's going to run into you and turn around and box you out and just throw it on him. It's like a DB can't even do anything but try and get up into it.
First and goal, and the Patriots drive it the distance for the touchdown. 83 yards in 14 plays, with Michel finishing it off. Used up almost half the opening quarter, and that's why they elected to take the football at the top.
Oh, they sent a message right here. They ran the ball 6 times on that drive. Brady got the ball out of his hands. Simple power play right up the middle. Brady 7 for 8, like I said, 60 yards on that drive. 8 passes, 6 rushes. You can't get better balance to start a football game on a drive.
3 different receivers, including 5 catches by White to help them drive it for the first touchdown in 8 postseason games on an opening possession. 7-0 Patriots. Now we'll see the Chargers with the football when we come back. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Wendy's, Pepsi, the official soft drink of the NFL, and by Universal Pictures Glass, in theaters Friday. Now that drive, the plays, the yardage, the length of it by time, is the longest opening drive under Belichick or Brady in the postseason. Little pooch kick here by Gostkowski. Comes to about the 17-yard line, and that is Jackson who fields it, the rookie backup running back. Takes it across the 30 to the 33. Phillip Rivers last week did not throw a touchdown in that win at Baltimore. It's the first game since 2011 in which he did not throw a touchdown pass and the Chargers still won.
Yeah, but that was the kind of game that needed to be played.
Exactly.
The way that their defense was playing, and against that incredible pressure that Baltimore, puts on opposing quarterbacks, it was efficient and what was needed.
Melvin Gordon, who's got some knee issues and was at times limited this week. By the way, Henry's on the field for the first snap. Here's Gordon. And he just fights to get back for no gain. Van Noy and others all over him. Yeah, as you see the Chargers offense, keep in mind that they opened up with that first play with Hunter Henry, who had torn his ACL back in May and has not played a single down all season, coming out for the very start.
He is a weapon, and I know that Rivers genuinely feels like if he can really just kind of get his legs under him, they can use him, and he's a big advantage. It's just really difficult to know what it's going to be like in your first game back after this long. And I love them putting him out there for a running play to get him into it. 2nd and 10,
here's play action. Rivers, he's going to launch it deep, looking for Williams. Jump ball, and he should have had it. He had boxed out McCourty, had body position and everything, and Mike Williams unable to haul it in.
Well, Williams times it perfect, and I couldn't tell if McCourty just gets his hand in there. No, he just drops it. Oh, this is... Phillip knows. He's like, boy, something's got to go our way. And one of these bombs that I've thrown here recently.
That would have been good for about 45.
That's the way they're going to attack him. I really believe you've got to play action the Patriots on 1st and 2nd down. That's how you create your chunk plays.
Already backed into a 3rd and 10 as you saw Keenan Allen split wide to the left. And play is whistle dead. See what Torbert says.
Play a game by the offense. 5-yard penalty. It's 3rd down.
So a scratchy start for the Chargers all the way around. And unless they do something significant here on 3rd and 15, that Charger defense was just on the field for half the quarter might have to be right back out there.
Oh, they're stealing a page out of the Ravens playbook. They're putting everybody up into the line of scrimmage. You see 8 guys here, only 1 defensive back deep.
Again, Rivers pass caught this time, and they do convert on 3rd and 15 as Mike Williams makes the grab this time, and he's slow to get up. Needed 15, got 18.
Well, this is a phenomenal throw by Rivers. It's a deep in route, and it's a great move off the line by Williams, but Rivers moving the chains.
And we're going to move to a commercial break as they tend to Williams on the field. Mike Williams trying to walk off the pain. He got caught in a very awkward situation with his left leg on the tackle as Jason McCourty came crashing. Now watch the left leg right in here. First down, Chargers, 46-yard line. Pass play to Williams, first thing to go right for the Chargers as Eckler takes it. And he's got a gain of about 3. Gilmore brings him down.
Well, Gilmore is playing the best football of his career in the last half of this season, and I believe he's first team All-Pro this year, and he deserves it. And I really think that they kind of switched their defense up a little bit now. They're putting him on the other team's best player like they have, but they're doubling other players. I think you're going to see that a lot in this game, and you're going to see him match up over and over again. Right now it's been on Allen to start this game.
How about Mike Williams misses one play with that awkward twist, and he's back out there near side, 2nd and 7. Gordon, he's got a first down to the Patriot 43. As a rush for 8. Melvin Gordon missed some time during the season, 4 games, ankle and knee issues, had an awkward injury during the game last week against the Ravens, but fought through it and played. His numbers, as a result, they haven't been as dynamic as you see most of his career. Late in the season, there are a lot of 40-ish type rushing performances, but that was a good run a moment ago to pick up a first down.
They can run the football like that. It minimizes what New England can do on 3rd down.
Play action. Rivers steps up. Heaves it downfield. Wide open. That's a touchdown. Keenan Allen got behind everybody. And Rivers finds him from 43 yards out.
Well, this is nothing more than eyes. Gilmore has deep 3rd. That means he has a 1/3 of the field deep. He's going to have a 1/3 of the field deep. So you just take your zone area and you keep going deep. I don't know what he read to jump, but to me that means that Rivers looked him inside. Watch, he just goes inside because Allen gives him a double move, a little in and up fake, but he had to have been reading the quarterback, and Rivers pumps him and gets Allen wide open for a touchdown.
Badgley's extra point ties it at 7. You saw some on these sideline for the Chargers had their arms in the air well before the football got there. They all knew Allen had slipped free, and the Chargers answer right back with a touchdown of their own. The NFL on CBS, sponsored by AT&T. More for your thing, that's our thing. And by Domino's. Order online at Domino's.com. The touchdown pass for Phillip Rivers ties the franchise record with the Hall of Famer Dan Fouts. Most touchdown passes in the postseason.
I mean, I tell you, Allen, he's outstanding. I mean, that double move with those reflexes, ability just to cut, on a dime and just get back into a route. And it'll be interesting to see if they stay one-on-one as the game develops, if he has a big game, because I think they're going to play him one-on-one and double a lot of other guys on key situations.
Here's Rose with his second kickoff. And Patterson has to come up to the 10. Short kick. This is a guy they feared. And Patterson's out of bounds just past the 30. Let's bring in Jay Feely.
Well, Jim, the Chargers made the unusual move to sign a kickoff specialist this week. They went and signed Nick Rose. They expect him to kick touchbacks. He hasn't done it yet. They did it because they feared Cordero Patterson. George Stewart told me, the special teams coach of the Chargers, that he thinks he's the best kickoff returner of all time. That's high praise.
Well, Rose last year kicked for the LA Chargers a little bit, and the Redskins kickoff specialist, and was 71% on touchbacks, while Badgley, who's been great on field goal kicks, only this year 16% touchbacks. So that was the move for it. And White incomplete on that occasion. Tonight on CBS, don't miss the show that changes lives one friend at a time. God Friended Me, new episode tonight after 60 minutes on America's #1 network, CBS. Got the fullback in the game, James Devlin. And Adrian Phillips, he's back there at 43. He does return after all. Wide open room as Michelle gallops for about 12. Brought down by Rayshon Jenkins. Second carry the Patriots have had here in the opening quarter for 10+. So Phillips, it didn't look good for a moment there. He was in the tent for a long time, but he's back on the field.
Yeah, that's a key guy in this system. I mean, it allows them to, consistently do what they want to do, which is put small people and play fast.
They fake the end around. They go to White, and look who's waiting for him. It's Jalil Adai. And that one all the way lost at 3, Tony.
Yeah, and this is the difference in speed. When you put these fast guys around the line of scrimmage, then you're going to find out this is a misdirection. Everyone's going that way, and look at how quick, and then he shoots right in there. And you see Andrews isn't able to get to him. Sometimes speed, it just makes that little bit of step that play all of a sudden doesn't go for a big play.
6 catches in the quarter for White, although that one was a negative play. 2nd and 13. Brady takes the handoff, goes to Edelman. Slips out of it and picks up the first. It would have been a 3rd and 4. And instead, Edelman has the first down. He got away from Casey Hayward.
Simple play action, Brady. But look at Edelman, just gets little.
Derwin
and all effort. High. Yeah. Here comes Derwin right there. Missing that tackle. That's great second effort.
Gain of 14. Back on the Chargers side of the field, handoff Michelle. And he's popped and held to a gain of about 2. Got another Charger shaken up. That's Kyle Emanuel.
You can see New England trying to sprinkle in the power game. They've got to play action. When you see a guard pull right next to the center, you're going to see that one of these guys, when they pull, all of a sudden that's power game. That means we're going to get into a big boy game.
2nd and 8. And Brady finds Edelman inside the 20. Down to the 14. Another big chunk play for New England. 28 yards on this one.
Well, watch Gronk go right here, because this is going to come across the field, but really it's Gronk with a play action in the middle. He's pretending to be the fullback. It's like a wham, they call it. We're going to wham right down on you and hand the ball off. They've been running that for years. They've just saved it. They just don't use it until they don't think you're ready for it, and then bam, here it comes.
First down at the 14. Running it, Michelle. Untouched so far. Dives for the pylon. Touchdown, New England.
Just look at this. Is I formation, lead draw. I see it once every 8 weeks in the NFL, and he's in. The Patriots are bringing back old plays, and they're doing a little bit of everything. Josh McDaniels with a perfect start to the way he's calling this game.
Michelle's already carried it, Tony, 9 times in the quarter for 43 yards and 2 touchdowns. And now Gostkowski's extra point is added. 3 total possessions in the game between these teams. 3 touchdown drives. This one 67 yards and 7 plays. New England with 142 yards of offense in this opening quarter. Have already run 10 plays on the Los Angeles side of the 50. A week ago, the Chargers at Baltimore did not allow the Ravens once on their side of the field in the first half, and did not even allow a point by the Ravens through the first 2 quarters. A quick 14 by New England in this one. And now Rivers and company will try to do what they did on their first drive of the game. Answer right back. Angled kick by Gostkowski. Comes to King. He's dangerous. But not this time. Whoa, hold on a minute. Somehow he's able to get out of it. Would have been pinned deep. Instead, he's out to about the 25. Considered the league's most prestigious honor, the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year Award recognizes players who have made huge impacts both on the game and in their communities. And a big nod for the Chargers' Corey Legent and the Patriots' Devin McCourty. This year's winner will be announced at NFL Honors right here on CBS the night before Super Bowl 53. You can learn all about this year's nominees at NFL.com/Man of the Year.
Watch how many times Phillip Rivers gets up to the line of scrimmage and goes to a different play based on the front and look of the Patriots.
Going to give it to Gordon. And Landon Roberts out of the University of Houston was there quickly. A little factoid here. First game with touchdowns on the first 3 possessions since Minnesota and New Orleans in the 09 NFC title game.
Wow.
Breeze and Favre.
I tell you what, we can find stats from many of them.
2nd and 9.
It's the first time there's 8 people within 4 yards of a center.
Well, that one, of course, came down to the last minute. Here's a blitz. Rivers unloads it in the area of Williams as J.C. Jackson was back there defending.
I tell you what, I'm shocked. This is more Ravens. This is cover 0. It means we have 1 more guy rushing than you have blocking.
That was Adrian Claiborne who came busting up ahead in a hurry.
Well, you can't block them all. They have no help in the secondary. You got to get the ball out fast, and this is a Ravens special. And leave it to Bill Belichick to just like change, what they do a little bit early in this game and go to something he thinks will work. And how many times does Rivers have to get up and change this?
Another 3rd and long for Los Angeles, having converted on 3rd and 15 earlier. Rivers somehow bounces away from Butler. On the run, throws it away.
Hightower does a great job getting the pressure, but the coverage was outstanding. By that point, Rivers had already moved. Watch all the guys going across the field. And when everyone goes left, Rivers slides right. You can't throw that ball back, and Hightower's chasing you down. And Claiborne got to get rid of it.
Donnie Jones into punt. Julian Edelman back at the 30. End over end, returnable. Edelman, stutter step move, and takes off. Grabbed by the ankles at about the 43-yard line by Richards. We'll be back in 30 seconds after this from Taco Bell. Final half minute of the first quarter in a game that matches a couple of seasoned veterans on their way one day to the Hall of Fame, no doubt. But it's the record for the oldest combined age of the 2 starting quarterbacks in a postseason. 78 years between them, 41 and 37 right there. Breaking the oldest combo that was back in the AFC Championship game 3 years ago when Brady and the Patriots played out at Denver, going against Peyton and the Broncos. Ball tipped in the air. And incomplete.
Brady got a break. Ingram gets his hand on the ball right there. He has incredible instincts. I really feel like when you watch him on tape, they move him around. He's inside, he's outside. He really is the one guy. He had 10 hurries last year when he played against Brady, the most in his career, I believe. And I think that he really needs to just, he's going to have to do something special for them to win this game. I believe that.
2nd and 10, Edelman again driving, and again he beats the defenders to get the first down yardage. This time it's King. Edelman winning that matchup after the catch on 2 different times now.
It's going to be hard. You play a lot of zone. Brady's going to pick you apart underneath, and he'll be efficient over and over again.
First quarter comes to a close. Brady throws for 110 yards. Michel runs for 2 touchdowns. And it's 14-7 Patriots after 1. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
Just a great start to the game by Brady, 11 for 14, efficient, throw underneath. Rivers also with the big play. The difference is Patriots have been complete running the ball and passing.
Throw it to start the second quarter, and again it's Edelman. With that catch, he just became the 2nd all-time receiver in NFL postseason history.
Just a simple route. You see how wide open he is? It's because they keep running these power plays. Look at that pocket. If Brady's going to have that pocket, it's simply because they've been able to run the football. And when that happens, it neutralizes Bosa and Ingram.
That's his 94th postseason catch. Second only to Jerry Rice. Just moved past Reggie Wayne. Passes behind Hogan. Five catches in this game already for Edelman.
Wow, look at that. When you're behind Jerry Rice and you're ahead of Welker, Ward, Wayne, you know you've had an unbelievable career and you've played in a lot of big-time games. And boy, Edelman, they went right from Welker right to him. They're pretty fortunate to have those 2 type of guys.
5 catches for 76 yards in this one. Here's a 2nd and 10. It's Dorsett this time. And that little wiggle picks up another first.
Well, at Tom Brady's age, I'm telling you, watch this. He just stands there and fires this ball, and it's only a little route, but you can see the pop he threw that. And see how the body weight doesn't shift, it just turns real quick. It's a quick coil. I mean, no one works on the throw mechanics more. And there's a reason he's playing at a high level at this age still.
First down, handoff. It's Michel, who had the big first quarter. And he's got another 4. You're talking about Brady's throwing mechanics and how often he works on being perfect. He had Tom House, his throwing coach and guru, in last week for a couple of days.
Well, that's almost like a tune-up for him. It's like a golfer who brings in a swing coach. And you know, Tom was really the first guy ever to start to do that. And
he called it a tune-up.
And it's right, it is, because you know, he's incredible. But you know when you're just like, man, I should have had more pop on that ball. And I think he just wanted that feeling, and it looks like he has it.
2nd and 6. At the 11, Hayward this time is not going to allow Hogan to get any extra yardage. They'll set up 3rd and 1. Michel, the running back. And play is stopped with a flag.
Ball start. Offense, number 15. 5-yard penalty. It's 3rd down.
First Patriot penalty of the game.
Well, you want to get Belichick upset, but it's not just him. I actually thought a couple of guys went early, which tells me the snap count didn't get communicated to everyone, but that's a killer. 3rd and 1.
Now it's 3rd and 6. We visited with Josh McDaniels on Friday. He said, for us to win the 3rd and 6 and longer game is the key. He's got 3rd and 6.
Here we go.
Brady going to the end zone. Open is Dorsett for the touchdown.
Well, you talk about the 3rd and 1 and how Belichick's going to be upset. Well, this is a sin for these guys right here. Communication. The stack motion means you have to decide who's covering who. And the communication doesn't happen. That's the #1 thing for the Chargers is communication on defense. They do a great job with it, but they didn't get it done there. When he motions down, you got to tell him, I'm in, I'm out. You stay with them, stay with them. Wasn't communicated, and they give up an easy touchdown.
Gostowski good again. And if you're the Chargers, whatever you came in thinking you were going to do defensively, that game plan, you better throw it out. Aerial coverage of today's game provided by State Farm. Patriots have just done something they've never done in franchise history, playoff history, scoring touchdowns on their first 3 drives of the game.
Well, obviously the Chargers, it's time to adjust, and when they get this ball back, I will show you a little bit about what they tried to do to start the game. The biggest thing, though, is there's not a lot of options going into this game for them. You have a plan, and they try and execute it.
And a yard deep. King's not going to bring it out. How about a nod to Sarah Thomas, the down judge in this game? She's the first woman to earn an on-field assignment for an NFL playoff game, hired by the league back in 2015. And during the regular season, she's been a part of this Ron Torbert crew. Congratulations to Sarah Thomas.
Well, she's well respected in the industry, and I tell you, it's got to be a big day for her being out here. That's special.
Rivers want to go up top, able to complete it to Gordon. He's shoved out by Chung, but a pickup of about 11 and a first.
Well, this is when we opened the show. I said for the Chargers to win this game, Phillip is going to have to go win it. If you're waiting for Brady to go lose this game, you're like, okay, just be methodical. It'll eventually get. You've got to go win this. Now, that doesn't mean do stuff out of the ordinary. It means that pass right there, he made that look easy. It wasn't. It was perfect. It was outside, and he allowed his runner to run after the catch.
Gordon now on the carry. Taken off and butting heads with McCourty. Ran behind Hunter Henry and picks up 8.
And I like what they're doing with Hunter. Sprinkling him in a little bit, getting him in the run game. At some point, they'll test him in the pass game and get him out there.
Anthony Lynn hoping the offense can crank it like it did on the opening drive. Just the 3rd series for the offense, but already down 21-7.
He knows how important this drive is right here.
Here's 2nd and 2. And here's a long ball for Williams. And one-on-one coverage by Jackson, incomplete. For more on Hunter Henry, let's go back down to Tracy.
Well, Jim, we have seen him in and out of this game. I spoke with offensive coordinator Ken Wisenhunt before the game. He said expect about 20 to 25 plays, but it all depends on how he feels. It's not the knee that's the concern, it's the fatigue factor, especially on this surface. Last week they had plays for him. They went in. This week they don't have any specific plays. They're just going to take it as it goes, Jim.
Well, here's a 3rd and 2, and this is a situation we've seen Antonio Gates so many times being on the receiving end of a Rivers throw. Last week he had 3 catches for first down on 3rd down. And that play stopped. But Rivers still got pummeled by Hightower. And he's letting Ron Torbert know, wait a minute.
Delay of game. Offense, 5-yard penalty. It's 3rd down.
Let's make that a little clearer next time.
It was tough to hear. It was loud, and it's another all-out blitz. You cannot block them all, and that would have been interesting to see. Rivers has a right to be a little upset, but
that's 2 delay of games on the Chargers offense, Tony.
Yeah, well, it's tough when you're trying to call, like Wes. We're saying he's trying to call these plays to line. He's putting his leg out, they're pointing, then he walks up and he tells you, hey, here's what I want to do. Block him, go over there. Here you go out there. It's a lot on the road, but he is a veteran.
3rd and 7. Pulled down for the first down near the 50. Great catch that time by Williams. Right in front of Jackson.
I mean, this is such a difficult throw. I mean, watch right here, all the way across the field, Williams, but there's so many people coming from the other side. And Jones is coming right in front. You're throwing off your back foot, pressure up the middle. That's how Rivers is going to have to play. He's going to have to win this game with high-level throws under duress multiple times for them to really come out of here with a victory.
He's completed passes to Mike Williams now in this game for first downs on 3rd and 15 and 3rd and 7. Handoff, Gordon twisted down after 1 by Van Noy. Tune in Sunday, January 27th, 3 p.m. Eastern. Watch the NFL's best battle for AFC and NFC pride as the Pro Bowl presented by Verizon takes place on ESPN and ABC. Second and 10. Eckler at the bottom of the screen.
You got 2 backs in the game. You bring him back in, you see who's on him.
Rivers rolling out and threw it past the line of scrimmage and avoiding the sack as Trey Flowers was coming after him.
It's the only time you're going to see Rivers miss the running back. It's rare because this is one of his first reads, but watch Gordon run to the flat. Rivers is looking at all the crossers, and he had Melvin Gordon outside. There's a ton of crossers, and he knows right there. He's getting frustrated.
Hey, get your hands off of me.
Oh, this looks like they could be coming after him again.
3rd and 10, and they do come with the blitz package. Pass, knocked down. He was going for Gates. That was Devin McCourty who helped bat it away. Rivers gets hit by Chung here, Tony.
Yeah, well, he's going to get hit on every play because they're sending one more guy. It's why you have to, like, look at these throws are 20 yards downfield. He's got to put them on the sideline and getting hit. This is going to be very difficult on Phillip today if they continue this. But if you make the big throws, you can score touchdowns. I mean, if they miss one tackle, these are big plays. It's just you've got to have the fight of your life to stand in there and continue to do it every time.
High snap. Jones brought it down, sends it away. Fair caught by Edelman at the 13. 26 degrees in Foxborough, but the Patriots are off to a hot start. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Subway, now delivering to your front door. Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Ram Trucks. Ram, built to serve. And now Brady and the Patriots. 3 for 3 so far. 7 DBs on the field for Los Angeles. Pass to White, and he's in a sprint. And so much for the Chiefs. Back home watching and thinking, man, could we possibly have a little shootout next week in Arrowhead if this continues this way?
And you see how they keep flooding. They keep bringing people from one side to the other. And if you're going to play zone, they're going to keep flooding the other side. And this is a simple screen. But just keep watching. It's just I formation, handoff.
Bring up the Chiefs.
Screen here. Go ahead.
Had some symmetry, Tony. Kansas City scored on this first 3 drives yesterday. The Rams last night scored on their first 4. And now, of course, New England on its first 3, all touchdowns from the 38. Another good run. That one for 6. Little possession chart on what exactly has happened here. This is the first 3 possessions. They had 15 first downs on 29 plays. Now 16 first downs on 31 snaps.
I think that's good.
It sounds reasonable, decent, doesn't it? 2nd and 4.
Alabama. Hey, where we going? Stick. 2nd and 4. 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 2
And this time it's clocked up 2 yards short for Michelle. 3rd and 2 coming up.
Well, and Gus Bradley, and you see him right there, last week had an incredible plan, and he knows right now he's going to have to adjust. He's like, we lived and died, we played zone, we fly to the ball, we got fast players, they know their assignments. But Tom Brady has gone against this style of defense, and when he knows going into the game, it's so difficult, and he gets reads right there. He motions someone in, he sees who's on him. He's got an encyclopedia in his brain on the history of defenses.
Hasn't missed a throw on 3rd down today. Hogan's down there. And it's knocked loose. Michael Davis able to get there in time. Got a flag near midfield. Actually, it's on the Chargers side of the 50 at the 35.
Before the pass was thrown, holding, defense, number 20. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Well, and King was trying to guard Edelman by himself. And we're down Edelman 11 right there, goes outside. He's going to go inside right here, and that's where King grabs him. And you can't do that.
Has twice now that the Chargers have been flagged on 3rd down incompletions. The opening drive, the pass interference call on Hayward against Gronkowski. No one was quibbling with that was right or wrong. It was obvious. Now this one. And now Michelle into the secondary and galloping inside the 20. And finally Derwin James rides him down at about the 8-yard line. Again, David Andrews has thrown some really big blocks in this game.
Watch Gronkowski on the motion. This is why you're lucky to have a guy like this. Boom! He hits him and then goes right to the next guy, kicks out. And what they call it, that means they displace the first guy. The double team displaces Ingram, so it moves him way out 10 yards from the edge of the line.
40 yards for Michelle. Burkhead picks up about 3. That gives Michelle now 95 yards in the first half. This Gus Bradley defense in its last 4 road games had not seen an opponent rush for more than 90 yards as a team.
Well, this is how they hang their hat. Everyone knows their job. They slow the run down, obviously, so that way they can get into 3rd down and rally tackle. Well, if you're always ahead of the chains, you're going to have to change. It's time to play man-to-man and put pressure on Brady. You can't sit back anymore and let him pick you apart.
Burkhead slices through for another touchdown. Gronkowski threw a block.
The whole left side of the line is moving. I mean, Ingram hasn't been pushed back like this in a long time, and you see the double team of Gronk and Brown. It just makes it a walk-in almost for Burkhead. Look at that.
Look at Gronk.
I'm telling you. You can say what you want. This guy, not a lot of tight ends are willing to put that effort every game in and blocking. Gronk has been doing it his whole career.
Another point on the board by Gostkowski for 28-7. 287 yards of offense. And we still have 6 minutes to go in the second quarter. Coming up, the Verizon halftime report. JB and all the crew, Phil, Nate, Boomer, Coach Cowher, their take on the first half. The Verizon halftime report. 4 touchdowns by the Patriots. They've been scored by players who had never had a postseason touchdown before today. 2 by Michelle, 1 by Dorsett. Remember how excited Dorsett was after he caught his. And a moment ago, Burkhead getting his first playoff touchdown. Coming to King at the 5. And he's wrapped up pretty quickly. You know, we go into the game, we talk about how this is a team that loves and thrives on playing in hostile environments. All these places they've won, haven't lost on the road this year when they got on a plane. What do you do now if you're Anthony Lynn?
Hey, this is going to be very difficult because this whole system is built on doing your job, and we're going to do what we do better. We don't care about the opponent. We play fast, we play hard. Well, what happens when that opponent is playing faster and harder and your scheme now is not working? They don't have a ton of plays to go to. To me, for them, it's got to be man-to-man, and you got to start to pressure. And they have to score touchdowns now. I mean, you just have to understand it's that kind of game. Brady's going to be efficient and play at a high level.
Pass down the field, and that's a catch by Tyrell Williams.
That's how they got to get their big plays. You saw the touchdown earlier. You need to play action on first down, especially at this point in the game. It's just a play action, and this allows you to have great space, but it also gets you one-on-one with some really good receivers and matchups. The more you spread them out, the more you're going to get a lot of different things from the Patriots. I'd keep big people in, play action.
That was 26 yards. Gordon into the line and stopped for no gain. Tracy?
Jim, a lot of frustration by Phillip Rivers after that last drive. He was walking up and down the field talking to the officials. He felt as though there should have been a roughing the passer call there. No vulgarity, you know him. It's like Eric Weddle said, just like an old-fashioned grandpa out there. But I could also tell you this defense right now trying to figure things out. Just constant coaching going on down here. Melvin Ingram trying to pump up his teammates. They got to figure something out here if they want to get back in this game, Jim.
Yeah, and in a hurry. 4:44 to go in the second quarter. Frustration, no doubt, for Rivers. As this pass down the field, almost coming over to jump in front of Gilmore, was Williams again, incomplete.
And Rivers wanted to throw this sooner, but he couldn't because he had to find the soft spot in the pocket, and he gets hit again.
Flowers.
And look at Flowers just extend that arm. It's a perfect teaching tape for a defensive end, and then good defense by Gilmore.
This is the fifth third down the Chargers have faced. All of them have been third and at least 7.
And they've come after him on a lot of them with cover 0, all out pressure. It's probably time to switch, isn't it? If you're Belichick, okay, he's seen it.
Timeout. Timeout called by Los Angeles. They have 1 second left on the play clock.
It's because you have to go through and tell everyone who's blocking who. When you get all out pressure, it's like, okay, who's blocking? I got to try and protect it, and it just takes a while.
The Patriots and all these streaks you talk about, 10 straight AFC East division titles, 9 straight years with a first-round bye. Trying to make it 8 consecutive seasons in the conference championship game. And congratulations to Patriots owner Bob Kraft. It was announced this week he is the recipient of the 2019 Genesis Prize, known as the Jewish Nobel. The prize honors individuals for professional achievement, philanthropy, and commitment to Jewish values. He'll be honored in June at a gala in Jerusalem. 3rd and 10. Just had to bail out now because he had pressure. That wasn't going to be anywhere close to a first down. He caught it. Gordon was the one he was trying to connect with, but Hightower busted up that play.
Well, Rivers is just trying to find a spot in the pocket and going through a lot of reads. He has a guy open, but it's so hard to move, slide, and then try and find a guy and take these hits over and over again. And we just saw the Crafts. You think they're enjoying their day? They have their coats off outside. This feels great out here. We're having a good time, Jonathan, RK.
26 degrees. Ball bounces, one hop, no one around him, so Edelman takes off. We'll be back in 30 seconds after this from Progressive Insurance. As you see Gronkowski in the huddle here, 1st and 10, 4:16 to go, first half.
Well, let's see if the Chargers play a little more man. The motion doesn't indicate that yet.
Long ball. And right between a couple of defenders, Dorsett, the Patriot, down there as well. A lot of talk around here, Tony, about Gronk. Is this his last year? It is, of course, this going back to before the season started. There were the reports that there was a possible trade to Detroit. He said, I'd rather retire. I'm only going to catch passes from Tom Brady. But he's had a lot of injuries in his career. And even over here on the Patriots radio network, the talk today, maybe this is his last ever home game.
Well, you never know. I can tell you right now, though, if you're going to play against the Patriots, you better have a plan for him, because he'll turn back the hands of time real fast on you if you don't.
2nd and 10, tripped up by Hayward. That's Michelle, who's moving in on 100. He's 2 yards shy. We met with Gronk on Friday. What did you think as far as frame of mind at that point?
Yeah, I mean, I really think I think this week off in the playoffs on this team, they've been in so many big games. People don't realize, like, they're always like, oh, they're done. They can't, it's over. They're not doing. The finality of the playoffs brings focus. And when you've been in it so long, this team is focused, and you have incredible mental acumen, and they show it.
Brady gets hit, pass is incomplete. And the Patriots will punt for the first time. Gronk has been targeted once in this game.
Well, you see he's got Derwin James on him right there. And I think this Derwin James is outstanding. Brady tries to bring that ball back in.
Ryan Allen was never called on to punt in Super Bowl 52, so it's been, what, 6 quarters in the postseason since he got called on balls on the field, on the ground. And I'm sure the Patriots got the full control of it before it went out of bounds. McClellan was on it.
Well, you finally get a stop. You have a chance. The Chargers can go in and score, make this a 2-possession game, and get the ball back in the second half, but they need this ball right here.
King mishandling it, slaps it toward the sideline.
Oh, this is gonna be
really close. Gene, at what point does he have control? Gene Steratore.
From the last view I got, Jim, it appears to me that number 59 has control of that football right there prior to anything touching out of bounds, which would constitute a turnover.
Well, Gene, I'm going to give you a sheet so you can use their names. It's Albert McClellan, and he's done a phenomenal job of keeping his hands in bounds there. I think that might go to New England.
We'll be back in 60 seconds after this.
New England has challenged the rule of
You probably heard as we were just fading to break that the Patriots have challenged. The ruling on the field was the ball was out before McClellan had a recovery, but it certainly looks like he has possession of it in the field of play. And King, who's second-team All-Pro as a returner, first-team All-Pro as a corner, may have just made a big mistake here with just 3:22 to go in the half.
Well, we know how important this call is. The Chargers. Ooh, here we go.
The New England player recovered the ball while it was in bounds. It's New England ball. First and 10 on the 35-yard line. Please set the game clock to 3 minutes, 23 seconds, please. 3:23 on the game clock. New England is not charged with a timeout.
So now Brady and the Patriots have the ball at the Chargers 35, and this was Rivers' reaction.
Philip's going to need help today from multiple people right now. And I tell you, King has played really great football this year. It's a surprising so far how the day's gone for him.
For virtually all of them.
It's just a shock right now to the Chargers system.
Fake to White. Brady down the middle. Caught at the 16. Another one for Edelman.
And this is where they're better than any football team maybe in history. Nobody closes. They're going for the knockout punch right now. You come out up 28-7 and throw a strike inside, and you go catch that with two guys knowing you're going to take the hit. This team wants it just as badly.
The big point by Anthony Lynn to his team last week, this week, free and loose. Hasn't been the case today. Michelle for about 3. Talking about 20 first downs already compiled by the Patriots, 311 yards of offense. We were talking to Brady on Friday. He was talking about, well, where do you get the 400 yards from? You know, you're going to get, how much are you going to get out of the tight end, the running back, the passing game? He broke it down by position group. I don't think he was thinking about 311 in the first half.
Yeah, well, he didn't know he was going to get 15 for 100 out of Sony in the first half either. This is exactly how the Patriots wanted this to go.
2-minute warning. Michelle just reached the 100 mark.
Want to stay up to date? Hey Siri, show me football scores.
So many ways you can sum up this game statistically, but let's look over at the NFC playoffs. Later today, Fox will have it. Eagles taking on the Saints down in New Orleans. Then next week, don't miss the NFC Championship game presented by Intuit TurboTax Live next Sunday on Fox. Rams advancing to the NFC Championship with its win last night at the Coliseum. Now here we go, 2 minutes to go. First half at the 2nd and 8. 20 plays have been run by the Chargers. The Patriots have picked up 20 first downs on the other side. Complete steamroll and looking for more. Brady down to the 5 and a first down. Make that 21 first downs. Dorsett.
Well, no one will ever remember this play. And it's just going to go into, you know, not being talked about. But Tom right there keeps his eyes straight down the field. And he shifts his body weight at the last second and throws an out on the right side of the field and makes it look like it's nothing and it's easy. And it's not. And what he does there is just, I mean, watch him right here. He knows he's throwing over there. See that? Now he's going to hold the safety and hold the corner and then rip his body over there and fire that ball in 20-some degree weather on the sideline. And if you're half a yard behind, that's a pick 6. That's a really hard throw, and he makes it so, look so easy. It's a really high level. You know, obviously he's Tom Brady, but that's why you call your coach in right there, to get yourself to make those throws and make them easy.
Coming out of a Charger timeout, look what they've done in the red zone. Last year when the Chargers played here mid-season, Belichick's bunch had a hard time in the red zone and settled for a lot of field goals in a game that New England won, but one that the Chargers felt like gave them a little positive boost coming into this one. They felt so close in that game a year ago. Well, they were talking about it with us last night quite a bit.
Well, they got pressure on Brady in that game and slowed the run down a little. And
Michelle driving, give him touchdown number 3. McClellan's recovery set it up off the King mishandle.
This is just Gronk first. I'm bugging you. Nope. And look at that right there inside. And then Devlin finishes the play off. The fullback, James Devlin, and Gronk. You're going to see him and Devlin 46 goes in there, and you go behind those two. And look at, they just push him. I mean, it's just like
they're out physicaling.
Yes, they're just
winning
pushing
every battle. Hitting harder.
I'm stronger. I'm going at you. Try and stop us.
There are going to be people going to say, well, were the Chargers victims in some way of having to go all the way back home after the Baltimore game, traveling east again? That's going to be, it's going to be brought up.
Yeah, well, at this point, to me, it's more about the simple thing of this. They've been on the field forever, and they have to give great effort. Well, when that first drive, when it's 6, 7, 8 minutes, the next one you come right back, well, guess what? There's only so much in the tank. And at that point, then you're trying to now stand up and take on a double team. It's hard.
Ingram and Bosa, who some of us might have thought going in, they could be game wreckers. And they have really barely been a factor. Ingram deflected one Brady pass, but other than that, there hasn't been much heard from either one of them.
Well, they're getting the ball out quick. They're changing it up. They're running the football. It's a screen, and then it's a play action shot over the middle. It's just keeping you off balance. You never have a rhythm of when they're going to pass.
Touchback. Verizon halftime report coming up shortly. JB and Bill, you see Phil over there with Nate and Boomer. You know, the last time, as I look at Phil, the last time a team played on the road in a divisional playoff game and had the better record, like the Chargers did on the season coming in here, was all the way back in the early 90s, the Giants at the 49ers, and that was, in fact, Phil's last game in the NFL. LT's also. Chargers who went 12-4 regular season. Rivers pounded back at the 12 by Flowers. You've been saying all year one of the most underrated in the NFL is this guy right here, Flowers, Tony.
Goes up the field, makes you feel like he's going to rush right there, and then it's a twist where he goes around, and he really is a complete defensive end. Look at the pressure on him. 15 dropbacks, 7 times he's been hurried, 4 knocked down, 1 sack, and then 1 hit after the play when no one cared.
Another hit on a penalty play, too, on delay of game. Timeout called by the Patriots, by the way. And Rivers is not happy with Eckler, who missed a block.
As he should be. Your season's on the line, and you're trying to do everything for this team, and he's done it for a long time. He's not getting much help today.
2nd and 20. Rushing 4. Going the gates.
You know, the funny thing is, if this game was 17-7, you'd consider taking this clock all the way down. But to me, I would hurry up and be like, listen, it's we got to score every single time now.
You got to do something. You got to try to figure a way to do something, and you receive the 3rd quarter kick.
Any points here from momentum.
Another 3rd and long. Ball knocked away. What a fine play that was by Jackson.
This is one of the more impressive things, and I'm going to give Jackson credit. You got a rookie, undrafted, and he's starting opposite. And there's a chance
Rivers says, where's the flag?
He might have got away with one there. Rivers is getting frustrated. But Jackson really has played well. For Belichick to just make this guy turn into a player by the end of the year, now he's really playing outstanding. Their secondary is shockingly playing at a high level from where they were early in the year. But isn't that who they are every year, Jim? They just get better.
Absolutely.
They just get better and better.
Always figuring out what they have. And they're looking to do more damage before halftime as they get it all the way out to about the 48 with Edelman. 43-yard punt, 16-yard return. Brady and Belichick, how many times have you seen them on a victory platform? Of course, we're 3 weeks away from Super Bowl 53 down in Atlanta. And it'll be right here on CBS. We look forward to bringing it to you.
How many years every year they're slower, they're blah, blah. These two guys, as long as they're breathing and they're part of the Patriots, and 12 walks out on that field, they're going to be a force and the favorite.
Good tackle made by Brandon Mebane. Hearts go out to Brandon. They had a moment of silence in honor of his daughter, McKenna, who passed away a week ago. She's his infant daughter's 3rd child who passed away last week. Complications from birth earlier in the fall. Here is Edelman to the 40. Patriots call a quick timeout, leaving them with 1.
It's just too easy for Tom. If you're going to play zone, he's going to throw underneath and beat the pressure. You gotta go a little against who you are, the Chargers. It's just, they don't want to get up and play man on everybody, but they have to.
This is the moment of silence in memory of McKenna. Which was a beautiful gesture in an opponent's stadium to be able to honor an opponent.
Yeah. You know, he felt emotional. You could see right there. Philip, even with all his children, he felt it too. You just lost a kid. No one can understand that.
Comprehensible. 26 seconds. White. He's out about a yard short of the first. Clock stops at 21 seconds. 5 first downs for the Chargers.
Oh my goodness.
I think that would be 5 touchdowns.
That's what
for the Patriots, right?
That's what they call dominance right there. Yeah, that's
not 6 yet.
Not 6 yet. There's someone obviously with us has given them that. I'm not a math genius. We've done this a number of times.
Yeah.
But I kept doing it in my head. I'm like 7. Now what's after 7?
Yeah.
14.
What's 5?
20,
what's
that's
7
3.
times 5?
Use my fingers.
Yeah.
4.
I saw you take your shoes off.
5 is.
Use your toes.
Usually our guys are very good with numbers down there, but just not today.
Gostkowski from here, if they call on him, would be 54 yards. Jay Feely telling us from the sideline that Gostkowski was making them with regularity from that distance, 54, during warm-ups in this direction. Brady to try to get him a little closer. Look to the sidelines. And Dorsett has the catch. Rivers says that had to be in bounds, and he got right in front of the official.
Can't clock it, Tom. It's 4th down. It's over. That's the half. That's a rarity.
And Tom is appealing, saying, wait a minute, he was out of bounds, but Philip Rivers helping with a little officiating right in front of him on the sideline.
The end of the first half.
Well, what happens is if he goes backwards, if you're trying to make an effort going forward, I'd like to bring Gene in on this one.
Gene, was this the right call? Is in the field of play, the tackle? Or should he have been out?
The tackle's in the field of play. The question may be, was it long enough or far enough, close enough to be a first down? Then we would have to measure and stop.
35-7 at the end of the half. 35-7 halftime lead for the New England Patriots. And let's take a look at Next Gen Stats presented by AWS. Check this out.
Well, it's a great view. You get to see what Tom Brady's looking at. And he scans the field better than anybody. He's like, 17% for Hogan, 17 for Gronk, a little covered. I'll look, 49%, I like that. Yeah, Edelman, you're only 39. Dorsett, you get the touchdown. 3 yards of separation, floated over the top. And Brady, as always, knows the probabilities and where to go.
Well, he threw for 233 yards in that first half and a touchdown pass, but the ground game from the get-go, everything, all facets of it for New England, just a step faster than the Chargers today.
The Chargers are little. They need movement. If you're at this point, it's got to be pressure and twists, and like they've just got to get people running all over the field. And if you, the Patriots just said, we're coming right at you, and we're going to come right at you downhill, and we're going to make you play football with a big, like old school middle linebacker. You want to put a lot of little guys, then we're going to have big guys run straight at you. We're not going sideways.
This matches New England's largest halftime lead in team playoff history. They were up 35-7, same score against the Broncos back in the divisional round of 2011 when the Broncos came in here with Tim Tebow as their quarterback. Similar runaway fashion in that one, as you see 24 first downs. Staggering numbers. On pace in that first half for about 700 yards of offense. Even though I don't think they're going to need to do anything in the second half of that offense, it reflects the first half. That's King trying to deliver a stiff arm on Humbar, and he's got it across the 30. Tracy, what did you hear at halftime?
Well, I spoke with Anthony Lynn, and I asked him, where do you start? And he said, well, offensively, it's about handling the pass rush. Defensively, it's stopping the run. But he said, simply, we're not going to get back in this unless we have heart and finish. Jim?
Yeah, you don't see too many people come back at Foxborough at Gillette, down 28.
They're going to need heart, finish, 2 interceptions, a block punt, and they're going to need
might not be enough
to go to the
might not be enough. Here's Rivers on first down. Goes across the middle, throws it too high over the head of Keenan Allen, who has the one catch, the one bright moment on their opening drive, the 43-yard touchdown catch. I mean, your offense, when your defense can't stop anybody, it's hard for them to ever get in a rhythm of what they like to do as well.
It's just, I mean, Phillip has to be a hero against all-out pressures and make throws that are super low level. Like right now, they got another cover 0 look. Everyone's up in there. Like everybody is up right there that you can see on your screen. There's no one else out there.
Coming after him and has to get it away. That was Adam Butler, who's done this a couple of times now, chased after Phillip Rivers.
Well, just watch the inside. They don't even block anybody. Like, there's only a 4-man rush. This is the first time the Patriots said, hey, we're all coming after you, everyone. But then they drop out. And in that case, you let one of the 4 guys rushing come free. Unacceptable.
Rivers, since the opening drive, is only 4 out of 14. He's had no time. Third and 10. Blitz package. And Jason Horty, who was in on the coverage, and that had no chance of being enough to get the chains. Tyrell Williams with the catch for 3. That's it. And that was a quick and unproductive start to the third quarter. Donnie Jones, who was signed back in October. We have the 2 punters from Super Bowl 52 in this game today. Of course, Ryan Allen still with the Patriots. Donnie Jones was with the Eagles, and between them, they had only 1 punt in that game in Minneapolis. That was by Jones. As Edelman gets twisted down at the 33. Well, we thought we met with Melvin Ingram. He felt pretty confident there were going to be some plays there to be made. And so far, between the 2 of them, not a lot of chances to call their name.
Well, they want to rush the passer. Now, they're outstanding football players, but you see the ball's out every time, and you got to give credit to the offensive line of the Patriots, but it's really just keeping them off balance left and right. They haven't been able to use their strength yet, and I don't think you're going to see that change here in the second half.
Brady, when talking about them to us, made an allusion to them being similar to going against Freeney and Mathis back in the old days for the Colts, which is high praise. That's Edelman. Give him 7 with that.
And it makes it tougher when you're on the road. You know, when Tom Brady gets to be at home, he has all the little things on how to change up snap count, how to get to the correct play, motions, formationally, understanding. I mean, we talked about a history in every system he's gone against defensively, so he knows the weaknesses in that system, and so that you never really get off the ball when you're here like you would if you're at home.
There's Ingram. Hayward really was the one that made that play for Ingram as he was in quickly.
Well, this is a great job. Those are those instincts. He can swim and move Ingram around. It's just, you know, it's a great play.
Looks like a face mask in there. Some folks here just reacting to it, seeing it on the Jumbotron. 3rd and 4.
Hey, we're Linda.
Gronkowski out wide to the left. There he is. Drop. Bull rushing down to the 35. A little flavor of yesteryear here.
A simple slant, and when he gets that ball, he goes, try to tackle me, not you. You either. Let's go. It's the playoffs.
Most reception touchdowns, that is, all time by tight ends, regular and posts combined. 2 of the top 3 in this game today, led by Gates. Brady's hit his last 8 passes. 80% for the game. As Michelle is dragged down near the 30 by Phylon. Michelle, 17 carries, 110 yards. Edelman's over 100 on 7 catches.
It's just tough. I mean, when your whole system's built around a zone defense, which is what makes the chart, it's just a bad matchup. We've seen it too many years. It's going to be hard to stop Tom from being super efficient. He knows how to move people and throw it underneath.
Here's
right
second and 5, and it'll be 3rd and a yard coming up. White with another grab. That's only 11 catches for him today. Again, the Patriots had the most receptions by running backs in the league this year, 121, led by White, who had 87. Well, the Chargers, because of that zone defense, you explained it to us earlier, gave up the most passing yards to running backs in the passing game, and the 4th most catches. 3rd and 1. There goes Devlin. He's delivered in short yardage situations all season long, including 4 times for touchdowns.
Well, he's had a good game blocking already, and now he gets to carry it and straight downhill.
Maroon 5 takes center stage at the Pepsi Super Bowl halftime show featuring Travis Scott and Big Boy. Tune in February 3rd on CBS. Dwayne Allen in the backfield.
You know what? I listened to you yesterday. You were listening to little Big Boy. You like his stuff, don't you?
I do. I work out to it. Here's Brady. A floater. And Brady, one of the first times of the game, hits the ground.
Well, this is really what happens. You see Ingram's great instincts. And what happens, though, is what the Chargers hoped would happen, I should say, is that we'll give him the passes underneath. We'll rally tackle, we'll get some first downs, and then we'll slow him down in the red zone. We'll create a turnover here. He'll get, efficient passing, but then we'll slow him down. That hasn't been the case. Far too many big plays, and then just running the ball right at him has killed him.
Here's 2nd and 10. Burkhead pushed out by Davis. When the Patriots do face 3rd down, it's 3rd and 1, 3rd and 3, something like that. The Chargers, it's been seemingly 3rd and 10 plus every time. Meanwhile, that's one of the reasons why the Patriots are 7 out of 8 on 3rd down conversions.
Yeah, it's just, it feels like it's just, it got away in a hurry there. That fumble going the other way, really was the time. It was 28-7, could have made it 14. You added the ball closer to midfield.
3rd and 3, rushing 4, caught and stuck by King. Good piece of tackling on White. And I'm looking across the way to see what they do here on 4th and 2.
Of course, the Patriots are going to go for it. They feel like the game's tied.
They bring in reinforcement with Devlin. Sony Michel comes in also. A 2nd tight end.
Well, this is where it's really hard when you go against these guys because they're going to know what you're in. They can't just run this ball right at them. But they're gonna.
Here it is. And they got it with Michelle. Dwayne Allen, I mentioned, was in the game. He helped throw a key block.
It's just, I mean, this whole thing just gets pushed over here, but James Devlin is having a throwback game where we're going to use the fullback and run right behind him. And there's a monster hole right there. Oh, that was a gutsy call. I mean, it wasn't because 35-7, but I mean, it's kind of gutsy. Just, we're going to run the ball 4th and 2 with a lot of big people inside.
Michelle again. No gain. Well, they do the things that seem unconventional to everybody else. You got a 35-7 lead, you think, all right, I'm going to go ahead and tack on 3 more. I mean, well in control of this game. You wouldn't think they'd try to give the Chargers any chance to create some sort of spark or momentum.
They are,
albeit as small as it would be.
No, you're right. They're definitely the best, and it starts right there with Bill Belichick. They're the best at, like, if the league's doing this, we're going to start to do this.
Yeah.
If the league doesn't, because they're like, they don't run fit. All these defenses stop the run from shotgun now, right? And if it's 1st down, then there's only 1 or 2 runs. They're like, okay, we haven't ran this in 7 weeks, we'll do that. Now, they've ran a little bit of this here recently in the last few weeks, but they just all of a sudden can morph back to that because these guys, they're so smart. They get their players to do multiple things that they can adjust week to week. And that's really the secret. You don't change up and do a lot of things unless your players can do it and can change with you. They have to put in time to learn it every time. Look at that time of possession.
With this total domination, 3rd and goal. Gronk's on the field. They had only 1 red zone touchdown catch this year. See if Brady looks his way. He was for a moment. Now he's going back across his body and over the head of Hogan. And now they'll bring out Gostkowski.
And Tom does a good job. He knows he can probably fit that in, but he throws it. It's one of those throws that's real high in the back, and you're like, I can't see everything, and I don't really want to get hit right in the face right here. So I'm going to throw that high to ensure that I don't give them a chance at the ball.
So Gostkowski comes out for the short one, 28 yards. And the kick is good. Remember the opening drive? They took the opening kick, kept the football for 7 minutes, 11 seconds. This time they had it for 7:22, half the quarter, and got 3. Aerial coverage of today's game provided by State Farm. Phillip Rivers today, 8 of 19, 124 yards and a touchdown. His family came out from California for the game. Wife and 5 of the kids.
You know where he's at in his career, and they all love football, and I know he's a great dad. If you know Phillip, he's a wonderful person, and he loves the game of football and his family, and they're having a rough one right now, but they still got a little chance, right, Jim? Just a touchdown here and 7 or 14 straight things go your way.
How much you do the math, my friend, as King wiggles. And Slater finishes him off near the 28. You know, one thing about Phillip Rivers, you said it, father of 8. And there's nothing he loves more than just being at home with his kids. And this is last spring. That's his son, Gunner. Does that throwing motion look familiar? He's the coach of his flag football team.
Keep going. You can tell he's emulated his dad when he was young.
He wants to be just like his dad, Steve, you know. That is the Rivers family is in that suite right there. His dad, Steve, was a high school coach, and we were talking to him one day down the road, would you like to get into the broadcasting thing? You know, he just wants to be his dad. He enjoys all of that coaching, having a chance to coach Gunner. So the little boy, Pete, as he throws it away.
Well, there is nothing better than coaching your kids or being around them, seeing them do that. But now back to the defense of the Patriots. They stole it from the Ravens last week. Bill Belichick, he's going to come up with a different plan. This is not what they normally do. Now all of a sudden you see, look at this. We're going to pressure different, unique ways. It really is. We talked about him on offense. Belichick with another great plan. Brian Flores.
A lot of people assuming he is the next coach of the Miami Dolphins. Nothing official yet, but appears to be the guy there in Miami, staying in that division. To see the Patriots twice a year, defensive signal caller and linebacker coach for the Pats. Oh, and look at Flowers. And that brings out a flag.
This is probably going to go against Flowers, but it's a great pressure.
Too low?
Yeah, I think it's too low. You can't hit the quarterback that low.
Gene Steratore?
I've got a foul for roughing the passer for contact at or below the knee, Jim. Yeah, it's a good call by Ron Torbert.
15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
But Flowers, who's actually having a great football game today, just load. Sometimes it's hard when if you're getting pushed. Gene, can you come in here? Because if you're getting pushed.
Most definitely, Tone. If by the referee's judgment he believes that your action is coming off a block of a teammate of the quarterback, he'll stay off. But even though you may be blocked, if he feels the defender could have changed that, they still will call a foul. It's a safety issue.
21 dropbacks. He's been sacked once, but hurried 8 times, knocked down 4 times. Now I got a first down at the 43. Tough pass. Boy, they didn't thread that one. That's like the pass he threw in that game at Arrowhead Stadium on a 4th down late in the game. And it was so precise right across the middle, just like that. Of course, they had that miraculous win, including going for the game-winning 2-point conversion.
Well, that's how we thought they would have to win this game. I mean, Belichick has got this defense playing great football right now. Flores, I mean, there's nothing easy. It's always hard. And you got to throw tight throws over and over again to score.
That last play went for 20. Flings it back over to Mike Williams, who has his 4th catch of the afternoon. Chung pushes him back.
I'm just so thoroughly impressed with Belichick just getting these guys to, okay, we're going to be the Ravens this week. Here we go. Everyone, I want you to stay in an extra 2 hours, and here's what we're going to do on defense, and then this is going to give this team trouble. And then next week we'll go back a little bit to who we are with a little bit of this, and then a different thing that gives them trouble. It's why when you get in the playoffs, that guy's just as hard to beat right there. Tom Brady, he's hard. This guy, he's really hard to beat, and guess what? They're together, and it's always, you have to have a great plan to beat them.
Here's a 2nd and 5. Inside 5 minutes to go in the 3rd. Melvin Gordon, 6 carries, 17 yards today, as they had to leave the ground game early. Another catch for Williams, and he does a good job of getting yardage. Ball came out at the end. They rule him down on the field. Pick up a 15.
Well, this is one area that not everyone knows. New England's great at ripping this ball out. See the, ooh, that looks like it might be a fumble. They do this really well. This should be a red flag by.
It's going to be. It's one of those occasions where if you were the Chargers, you didn't want to take a lot of time trying to redirect things at the line of scrimmage, because the challenge flag has been issued.
Did the Patriots recover it? Or did Williams get it back? Because that kind of ruins the point if you're challenging, right?
New England has challenged the ruling on the field that the runner was down by contact prior to the ball becoming loose. We'll review the play.
Gene, you had a chance to look at it. First glance, take us through it.
Well, we'll see.
Well, it looks like Williams has it anyway. You're right. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by State Farm, here to help life go right. Pizza Hut, official pizza sponsor of the NFL, and by the all-new Chevy Silverado, the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever. This is one of those situations, Tony, you were saying during the break that someone upstairs perhaps did not see the recovery part of that.
Yes. After reviewing the play, the ball was fumbled by the Chargers receiver. However, there is not evidence of a clear recovery by New England. Therefore, the ruling on the field stands as called. New England will be charged with its first time out of the half.
When someone hastily may have suggested down to the sideline, you want to challenge this.
Well, they're right. They didn't get the rest of the view that he recovered it. Because I thought he got up with the ball, and that's why I was
Did a good job getting it pulled back in away from McCourty.
You know, during the break, you also mentioned that you thought this could, because that challenge could come back to hurt New England late.
This could be a turning point of this game.
Is that what you were saying?
It cost New England a timeout that it probably will very much need in the last 2 minutes. Here's a 1st and 10. Gordon, look at all the helmets around him, including John Simon.
Boys, New England ready to play. Just effort. You know, just knowing exactly based on formation where to go. I mean,
another bye week entrance into the playoffs. 9 straight years.
It really just brings, this team is, you saw it when we saw them the other day. They were just focused. I mean, guys were ready to go. And they knew their assignments, and they were communicating at a very high level out on that football field with each other.
2nd and 13. They go empty for Rivers. He's going toward the end zone, and Eckler was the target. Coverage by Van Noy.
Well, Van Noy out and up and doesn't fall for it. It's really good coverage. Van Noy, who does a lot of stuff in this defense, a little bit. Remember, like Ninkovich, he's got a little bit of that responsibility. They switch up guys from time to time, but he's got a little bit of that.
There is that lineage. He talked to us about this too. How it gets passed down from generation to generation. Next guy up, watch the previous guy do it the right way, like Ninkovich. And here's Rivers to the end zone. Gilmore there on the coverage. Only 3 Patriots were in the area. We do have a flag on the far side, 13.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, number 24. 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. Automatic 1st down.
You already said you thought Gilmore, and you've seen some of the grades, no doubt. Some people have had him rated, when it's all graded out, as the top corner in the league this year. He's, this time, though, called for the infraction. Melvin Gordon's roommate at South Carolina.
They had quite the talented.
There's some players on that team.
Plethora of guys.
Melvin Ingram, I should say, not Melvin Gordon, Melvin Ingram. Ingram on that team with Gilmore and Alshon Jeffrey. How about that? Here's a 1st and 10. Stepping up and trying to just go to the safety valve, and look at Chung waiting for Gates.
This is a busted play call, because watch this right here. It's a pass by Phillip, but watch all these receivers. They're like, what are we doing? Let's just block people and let's stand here. And Phillip's like, what are you all doing? Just a miscommunication on offense there. Phillip has to get out of town and just throw the ball to Gates.
Second and 13. They seal the pocket this time. Pass caught by Tyrell Williams inside the 1. He had Jackson right on him. Perfect pass.
It really was a perfect pass. He goes through the progression, finds the guy who's singled up. And Jackson far too off on the coverage. Looks like he's in, but not in the end zone.
Yeah, he's inside the 1.
Well, they're going to have to take a timeout here. See if Rivers can get this snapped and tell everybody what to do.
No time. No time. Got a flag in the end zone. Rivers is looking around like, what are we supposed to do here? It's going to be the 3rd delay of game.
He's asking, did
Los
you call
Angeles
timeout?
has called his first charge timeout of the half.
Okay, so pick up the flag, take the timeout. They'll have 1st and goal at the 1 when we come back to Foxborough. Coach Lynn calling timeout before they get a delay of game penalty. Rivers saying, what are we doing here? What's going on?
He's not upset about the timeout. Rivers is upset that they're sending goal line personnel in the game. He's like, we're down 38-7. Every 30 seconds here matters. When you substitute all these big guys, it takes a while. Just let me run up to the ball and snap it.
Set. 380. Good.
Gordon. Oh, what a hit. Whew. Was that Roberts? He's acting like it was him. Flowers was there too.
Let's listen to this.
Did you hear anything?
I didn't hear anything, but people said that there was going to be a big sound, but it wasn't a big special effects sound there. But I tell you, that was, look at this right here. Boom!
There was some collision.
You could hear it there. That was impressive.
Knocked them back a half yard, 2nd and goal. Gordon again, and he's able to get in for their 2nd touchdown of the day and their 1st since the opening drive for Los Angeles.
Well, you get misdirection, slows down the backer's eyes, and they're a hair late to fit their gap. Gordon gets a touchdown. We said it had no chance last week, didn't we?
That is true.
We were saying in the Baltimore Chargers, like, no way.
A little different.
Yeah.
A little wider margin. And Badgley adds the extra point. The entire regular season at home, Patriots gave up 1 rush touchdown, a 1-yarder week 1 to Alfred Blue of Houston. And now from a yard out, it's Gordon. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by T-Mobile. Whether you're home or away, T-Mobile has you covered. And by Tide, #1 stain, and odor fighting power, #1 trusted. So the Chargers take 10 plays to go 72 yards. Took 5:15 off the clock, and we've got a little more than a minute to go in the 3rd, 38-14. Kansas City awaiting to host the AFC Championship game next Sunday night at Arrowhead. What a scene that's going to be. Over the head of Cordero. Rose able to deliver a touchback. The AFC-NFC Championships presented by Intuit TurboTax Live.
Well, I tell you.
People talking about how cold it was here today, which I don't think has been any factor at all in the game. Wait till next Sunday night.
It's going to be a factor?
Maybe not for the players, but it will for the guys up in the booth. It is. How about Tracy and Jay?
Yeah, but we don't worry about them as much.
That's true.
It's really the booth we worry about.
Not worried about them. Brady out of the gun, throwing to Edelman. And Davis is a man who also was trying to chase him. Here's the running game. A look at what they've done, primarily by Sony Michel.
Look at this. We call it displaced. We said it earlier. Look at how far back the defensive ends are. There's Ingram. He's in the end zone. I mean, look at this. They just completely are blowing them off the ball with the double team. And that point of attack, I mean, just, it's really made... This game was over in some ways before it started, just based on the ability of the double team to take their guy. I mean, you can't stop the run when you're 10 yards deep.
Dublin again gets the necessary yard and a little bit more. That's 25 rush attempts by the Patriots today for 135 yards. So they're averaging over about 5.5 yards per carry over the course of this game.
Well, they're going to have to run the football. You know, if this continues and we think this game, most likely I'm going to give them a chance to win this one. If they have to go forward, they're going to have to go against a team. We're going to play man-to-man outside, and they're going to make them run the football to beat them against 8-man boxes.
Patriots from the get-go have been an unstoppable force, and we're heading to the 4th. Well, I'm a glass half full kind of a guy. I know you are. Patriots Up 38-14. You saw the Chargers won the third quarter.
Oh.
Okay.
That's definitely a glass half full. That's optimism at the highest levels right there. But they really need a defensive score right now.
A non-offensive touchdown, which the Patriots have not given up a return touchdown the entire season. Return game or defensive touchdown. How about Edelman? Look at the balance. Down to about the 28. He is having a huge performance. That goes for 35. He's 9 for 151.
You're going to see this little double move. That guy carries the seam on defense. You go out and then you go up. But really, this is the best ball I've seen anybody throw in a long time. That was, and he got hit right at the end of it. And it was on Derwin James, and there was no space, but Edelman with a great route, a great catch.
Boy, James reached out and tried to get a hand on it. But the pass was exactly where it had to be for a 35-yard gain. Handoff to Patterson. Got the edge. Shoved out at the 14 again by Derwin James. Got a marker on the field.
This is a wing T inside counter, if you can believe it.
Holding. Offense, number 11. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
Oh, and this is Edelman. He's like, this is the play right here. After I catch this big play, he's like, don't, just stay here. Just stay here. Don't go away. Oh, the ball's going there. Oops. Edelman grabs him a little bit. But that's the thing. You catch this big play, you're exhausted. You just kind of want to go get in his way.
It had to factor in.
Yeah, you just... Not quite the same blocking level he did probably in the first play.
Brady, who's 30 out of 38. Make it 31 and 39 to White. White tiptoeing around traffic. And King, frustrated, throws him down. Another good block by David Andrews.
Shaq Mason, the right guard, 69. Look at him get in front right here with a great cut block, and then he gets blown up. Oh, I'm telling you, Shaq Mason had a great cut block, and then he got just blown up at the end of it.
Look at this, one away from tying Darren Sproles for the all-time postseason single-game record for catches. He's got 14 in this one.
Well, there he is. I don't know if you could see it, Jim, but watch. See, he's right up here. You'll see him. He's going to cut block right here with a great block, and then he gets up. He's like, I did it. Oh, boy. That one didn't feel good.
Ted Karras comes in for him at right guard. First down, going up top again. Incomplete.
One of the rare times that Brady has a ton of pressure, and they pressured him. Derwin James blitzes off the edge, and it's a little bit late now where I feel like this is kind of what they should have tried doing early in the game. Just to speed up the process of everything that New England was trying to do.
5 touchdowns in 6 trips. The other one a field goal in the red zone. 2nd and 10. Look at that Edelman there, a little miscommunication.
Well, what happens is Edelman normally stays up there, so Brady turns and throws to his normal spot that Edelman is. But Edelman felt like he had to get more space from the guy, so he kept drifting back. Well, Tom is just throwing that screen pass to him on, basically it's a, he's always in this spot. I turn and throw to this spot. He's always right there, and he's not in that spot.
They haven't been out of sync many times today.
No, they haven't.
3rd and 10. Can pick up a first at the 6.
I think they got to be safe here. Just a simple, quick throw, get it out of your hand.
Hogan down at the 12. Davis and Dye ends it there. And Gostkowski coming out for a second field goal attempt. He's been good from 28 in the second half of this one.
And that was key. I know it doesn't seem like it's 24 points, but that does make it now a 4-possession game. And that's why you saw just a quick throw that really has no chance of getting a first down. There was no sacks to put us out of field goal range or make it too tough. No turnovers. Get this ball out and make it a 4-score.
Gostkowski's kick is good from 30. 41-14. Back living on a prayer. Tony Romo always is.
This whole place is singing Living on a Prayer. And there was another guy singing Living on a Prayer. I think he knows the words.
Yeah, he might. Patriots have now scored on 7 out of 9 possessions today. King met just across the 20 by Slater and others. And let's meet up on the sideline again with Tracy.
Jim, what a job by the Patriots. De facto defensive coordinator Brian Flores just orchestrating just a tremendous performance today. And we talked about him having some opportunities. Well, he had such big shoes to fill for Matt Patricia. Never backed down from a challenge. Parents were immigrants from Honduras, grew up in the projects of Brooklyn, suffered a broken leg in college that ended his NFL dream, started as a gopher with the Patriots, has worked his way up over 13 years, now getting this opportunity, and who knows, could be the next head coach in Miami.
That's really well said, Tracy. He's done a fantastic job, and he deserves the opportunity.
Got a flag down. They have limited this Charger offense to 183 yards, and as we mentioned earlier, Flores is considered right now the likely next coach of the Miami Dolphins.
Offense, number 66. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Well, you don't get to be the defensive coordinator under, or pseudo, I don't know.
Defensive signal call.
Yeah, well, that's what Parcells used to do that too. When I was there early in my career, he'd be like, okay, you're going to call the plays. Well, am I a coordinator? No. Well, am I just, you're nothing really. Just, I'm going to test you out. I'm protecting you, but I don't want you to really do anything or tell anybody what you're doing, but you're doing all of it.
But not the title.
Okay, so what am I doing again? I don't know, but let's go do it.
Just call the plays. First and 20. Chung backs off. Here they come again. Incomplete. Over the head of Allen, who again has the one catch, and Rivers Gimpy.
Well, this is Flowers just going up and down, and see Butler right there providing the pressure, splitting the double team. It's been a really rough day for Phillip, having not much time. He's been hit a lot. Not a lot of guys open, just a couple plays just to kind of ran into a buzzsaw of a team that was very focused and prepared and ready.
He's under 50% passing. He's had no time to throw, except on this one. See what he does with it. Almost gets picked. He was throwing it to Hunter Henry. And Van Noy almost came down with it.
And Van Noy had an opportunity. This is right. And his hand's right there.
Van Noy walks into the room with us the other day, and first thing he says to you is, I'm still upset about that playoff game when I was a member of the Lions. We played down in Dallas. There were some bad calls, man.
I was like, oh, let it go.
Yeah.
It's no big deal. I do remember you made a great play, but then I threw 2 balls on you that you didn't make great plays on. He's a good guy. He was smiling the whole time. He's picks the system up fast, found a new role he's never had before here, and he's playing good football.
3rd and 20. And Sioux Patriots there to defend with no window for Williams. Jason McCourty helps make the play. How about Jason McCourty? 10th year in the league. All those years down at Tennessee, a year ago with the Browns when they went winless. First 9 years, never saw the postseason. Saw his brother all those years, getting all of these exciting chances and Super Bowls and first-round byes and AFC Championship appearances. Oh, under heavy pressure. There is a flag. Jonathan Jones ran into the punter. This on a 4th and 20.
If it's roughing, it's going to be an automatic first down. Doesn't matter that if it's running into the kicker, obviously it's only 5. If he's looking at the Chargers bench, that tells me then it's like, do you want to punt again or not? Which means it's probably running into the kicker.
Gene, you don't see anything there that looks like roughing instead of running into?
Not contact direct with the plant leg, which would be roughing. The kicking leg would be a running, and I believe Tony's absolutely right.
Running into the kicker by the defense. That penalty has been declined. First down. Timeout.
11:47 to go. How much longer will Coach Belichick keep the likes of Tom Brady in the game? NFL on CBS is sponsored by the Ford F-150. It doesn't just raise the bar, it is the bar. Verizon, chosen by experts, chosen by you. And by McDonald's. Tom Brady's still in the lineup here with 11:47 to go. How long do you think you'll keep him in?
Oh, he's probably going to play the entire game. It's kind of just a Belichick.
37!
I mean, he might take him out if there's a drive with 3 minutes to go. But I just don't believe he's the only coach ever who just, we're here to play football, we play football, and then it's over. Then we go on.
Coach Belichick this week seeing the passing of one of his mentors, a guy that he considered to be like a godfather to him, Rick Forzano, the former head coach of the Detroit Lions, who was a longtime assistant at Navy with his father, Steve. And he gave Bill his first position job in the NFL. Belichick came into the league being a special assistant to Ted Marchibroda in the Baltimore Colts, but then Forzano hired him as the tight ends coach at Detroit back in the 70s. As Michelle's about a half yard short of the first, how many times did he say he and my dad were really, really close? Talked about.
Think about the guy
even lived in the Belichick family home there in Annapolis. Bill, of course, an only child, but Forzano, before his family was able to come out to Navy, would stay with the family, and again considered to be like a godfather to him. And even went on to credit Coach Forzano with recruiting Roger Staubach to Navy. Michelle stacked up. He's very close to the first.
Well, think about it. You're the coach who hired Bill Belichick. You know, it's like you're the guy who hired Lombardi. It's a pretty good deal. It's impressive, and I know he meant a lot to him. You think anybody will touch any of these records? I mean, his playoff record. I mean, just any of this stuff.
Well, how about this one?
It's just the stuff they've done is just, it's not even they're not real stats anymore, you know?
In his career today, as they bring out the Chain Gang, it's his 40th postseason game as a head coach. That's 2.5 seasons, 16, 16, and 8. You got 40 games in the postseason alone.
Yeah, that's more games in the postseason than Anthony Lynn has coached as the head coach of the Chargers. I mean, it's really just, it's inconceivable to think that anybody can put together this long, you know. And Anthony today, Coach Lynn did a phenomenal job this year, but when you come into this game, you just understand the incredible ability of the Patriots to morph, to shift, to almost be super efficient and execute so, well. It's just so hard to beat them without special performances. Something has to be a little bit special, whether it's an incredible scheme or whether it's an incredible player just going and making some incredible And here comes the
shift change that you saw in the game at Pittsburgh between the Patriots and Steelers.
Yeah.
4th and inches. Yeah, they were able to bring Ryan Allen, the punt team, out.
And they're wasting the clock again.
Cardona snaps it back. He's a Navy man. Big high kick. Bounces in with a touchback. Belichick on his way to his 17th conference championship game as a head coach or assistant. Staggering. Coming up, the State Farm post-game show. JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, Coach Cower. A little final analysis on this one and a look ahead to next week's game down in Kansas City. Rivers down the middle and caught. Tyrell Williams.
See if he caught it. He caught it, and another throw. Rivers under duress, having to throw the ball 30 yards down the field, taking another hit.
That throw puts Rivers over 200. Second longest play of the game for the Chargers, 29 yards, only usurped by the touchdown throw to Allen early in the game. That was intended for Jackson. Boy, when you have a game with this much heat coming at you, how much would it throw you off?
Well, it's not so you have to create a big play for them to stop. So if it's just incompletion after incompletion, it's the quarterback just takes a beating the entire game. And when they look back, they're like, we should have thrown some screens, we should have done some stuff to get the ball out of our hands and have, just that the Patriots didn't show this. This is brand new. It's just they got their team ready to do something different, and they came out and executed it brilliantly.
Almost pulled in one hand. Williams looking around for a flag, and there is one. There is a flag. Jackson on the coverage.
Well, Jackson was holding them. You do got to give the Chargers credit for this season, though.
Well, they had the co-best record in the conference with their divisional foes, the Chiefs.
Interference. Defense, number 27. Spot foul. Automatic first down.
And what they had to overcome, from the top down. I mean, Anthony Lynn deserves a ton of credit for this team. 12-4 with a, not exactly a big home field advantage.
I wouldn't think so.
They're moving places, obviously. They moved two trips to the East Coast back-to-back here in the playoffs, but they turned into some road warriors, and they played great football throughout this year. Anthony Lynn got them ready to play any environment, any time. We'll show up and play.
You think about winning at the likes of Seattle, at Pittsburgh, at Kansas City, at Baltimore. 6 straight wins in the Eastern time zone, playing games in that, going all the way across the country. He should get Coach of the Year consideration.
Absolutely. And, never when it ends like this, it's just you didn't accomplish the goal, and it doesn't feel like you did anything. But
Rivers able to squeeze that out of there. And Noy is on Jackson.
But I'll tell you that, the whole thing's just, it's starting to seem like Phillips the one centerpiece here, right? They got some really young, good players at a lot of spots that are talented and going to be playing here for a long time. Phillips playing some of his best football of his career right now. Mm-hmm. You never know how long. You don't know.
He's in real pain right now. He's really hurting. Doubled over for a moment. Guy has never missed a start. 3rd and 4. Still flinging it down the field. Completes it and throws a touchdown when he could barely stand up, and it's incomplete. Ruled incomplete for Keenan Allen.
Oh, he throws a perfect throw. Splits the double team. Let's see. Boy, that looks like...
Oh, yeah,
that's a football play. He's down.
That looks like a touchdown.
It's either he's down and in short or it's a touchdown, but I don't think that's incomplete. Let's see. Yeah, that's a football move. I mean,
Gene, what do you see here? I don't see anything that looks like incomplete.
No, because we have at least 2 or 3 steps in a football move, and then we have the brace, which puts him down by contact.
Los Angeles has challenged the ruling on the field of an incomplete pass. We'll review the play.
He then puts that forearm down, guys, which would put him down by contact. What we'd look for now and just focus to is where is that football when that forearm lands and puts him down by contact. I think that's going to be the big decision here.
Yeah, it'll be a catch and then down just short, it looks like, from that view.
Can't be much more than a few inches.
Is there a pylon? I mean, I feel like all we need is the down. And right there.
Can't really tell for sure until you go down the line.
Yeah, we're going to have to. Right there. Well, you know the left arm. This is probably one of the best views right here.
Where's the football?
Boom.
Is it touching the front of the line? There you go.
Now watch his back, watch his knee though before the thing. Watch his back knee right there. That's down before the forearm even.
Here's your pylon camera.
And this is a view, and you can either look at the stands or that person who's barely in the middle of the stands. He's going down at the goal line there.
It's going to be a catch. It's got to be a catch.
Yeah.
Allen almost making the most out of his second catch of the game. This is
down right there.
There's his knee
there
right there. That's going to be just inside the 1, maybe?
Yeah.
Good catch on the left knee before the arm bar to the ground. But again, that pass was thrown with Rivers in agony before the snap.
Yeah, he's fighting through. I mean, you get hit that many times, you're going to get certain stuff ain't going to feel right.
It's going to be a 32-yard reception, you got to think.
The Los Angeles receiver established control of the ball, took 3 steps, then got a knee and an elbow down with the ball in his control just short of the goal line. It'll be Los Angeles' ball, 1st and goal at that spot. Please set the game clock to 7 minutes, 46 seconds, please. 7:46.
This was the previous play. Rivers went down and was fighting through the pain before the snap.
Oh, look at Jim.
You got Melvin and Melvin in the backfield. Ingram and Gordon. Ingram, the fullback.
Well, there he is right there. What do you think? Just power football right on this side and follow him in?
I would think that's it. Nope, going up top to Ingram. I'm sorry, to the tight end, Virgil Green. Virgil Green with the catch.
I love it.
And we're halfway through the 4th quarter, and the Chargers have scored a second touchdown of the half.
That's exactly why you put him in there. You're like, okay, they're obviously putting him in there.
Yeah.
Because he's a great at something, right? No, we're just putting him in there so you think we're doing something weird.
Virgil Green left all alone, former Bronco. Going for 2. Going to go for 2 here to make it, trying to make it 41-22.
Tell us why, Jim.
Well, that would be 19. That would make it a 3-score differential. And instead of it having to be 3 touchdowns, you could go touchdown 2, and a field goal to tie this game.
That's pretty good.
How about that? Here's part 1. They got it. Boy, they've had some 2-point plays this year, haven't they? Yeah. Keenan Allen with the catch. So you got that?
I do. I thought if you
had 2 touchdowns, 2 2-pointers, and a field goal.
Allen makes them whiff. And they do. They down to 19. I was just going to say the only reason was because 19's less than 20 to lose by, but we'll see. That's a great job by Allen just sneaking in that back area of the end zone. And I tell you, the ownership, Spanos family, done a great job turning this thing around, getting the Chargers. You know, they've saw Dean this last week, and they were so excited about that win last week. Big contingent back out here for this one, and you know, they wanted to play better, but should be proud of their season.
Tony, let's see what they're going to do here as far as the kickoff. Let me bring in Jay Feely.
Jim, Nick Rose has been kicking off. Badgley's in. He's their onside guy. He told me he wants to hit this ball low on the ground, try and get 3 hops and a big hop on the last one.
And again, for the whole season, including post, it's 4 for 53 for the league. I mean, effectively, maybe the competition committee will take a look at this in the offseason. They've made this now almost an insignificant play. It's gone down from being like in the 20s in terms of a success rate to now it's under 8%. 4 out of 54. It's all about safety. We know that. We get that. I wish there was a middle ground here, Tony, somewhere to make the play a little bit more exciting. It's gone away.
It is, and I agree with you. It's a tough one because it's like there's safety involved. There's also like, do you really want teams to get it 30% of the time when they've been losing and they haven't really controlled the game? And then, the ball bounces right to them, and now it's like they win the game. There's like a fine balance there.
Michelle for a yard. Rookie with 126 on the ground, including 3 touchdowns.
This was the #1 thing. They needed to be balanced today. And you know, when you can run the ball 28, 29, 30 times, you're going to do well. And Michelle with 23 right there, just, I mean, that they controlled the line of scrimmage today. They really just blew them off the ball and won this game from the trenches. And Brady was outstanding.
2nd and 8. Hogan with the catch. You know, the league, back to the kickoff, the league's fallen in love, out of love with the kickoff to begin with. I mean, there are those who think it's on course for being taken out of the game at some point. Just in general, not talking about onside kicks, just doing away with it. Gene?
They talk about that every year.
Been a lot of discussion. It's been moving in that direction.
Well, I tell you, you see motion by
White able to break the tackle. Gene, you might have a thought on that.
You know, there has been talk and consideration about taking it out. It's such an exciting part of football, the kick return, the punt returns, the onside kicks. But when safety comes in and players are running this far at those distances, you know, they have tried to par this down. I don't want to see it leave. I think there's nothing like a kickoff return in the NFL or any football game, you know.
It does make for the coaches to stand out who are great special teams coaches. If you ask Belichick, he thinks that's the strength of, you know, their team. They teach it, they care about it, and so they usually jump off sides at the moments that don't matter or false start. Oh, look at right there. But they really do think that can be an advantage, and so it just depends on the team and the coaching staff and how important it is to that
number
team.
46, 5-yard penalty. It's 4th down.
Back it up to the 45.
Well, I tell you what, this is going to be New England, Kansas City, in Kansas City next week.
How about the game they had in the regular season right here? 43-40.
Well, you got
Patriots won.
This is going to be. This is really. I mean, Kansas City's just amazing with their talent and what they have, and then you have the Patriots and they have Brady and Bill. I mean, this is just going to be outstanding. Whoever gets to call that game is going to be really excited.
Put in a good word, will you? Look at Slater. Made a career out of this. It was week 6 when they met. And it's the only game at home this year where the Patriots ever trailed at any point. It actually was 2 different points in the game. Brady able to escape and then dive ahead for a touchdown. This is Tyreek Hill getting open in the secondary. taking that one 75 yards. Gostkowski booted the 28-yard field goal to secure the win, 43-40.
This makes me feel like it just has a feel.
Yep.
That Bill Belichick's going to have to come up with something different. He's going to have to come up with a plan that no one has seen. It's going to remind me of the Rams right when they'd all started. It reminds me of a Peyton Manning game when that offense can't be stopped. I mean, just this is the one guy who can come up with a plan to make it difficult on Kansas City. At the same time, Kansas City has really no weaknesses on offense.
You've got in Tom Brady the first to ever have a 50-touchdown season versus the latest to do so. You've got the legend against the young phenom. I mean, what a matchup this is going to be.
Well, yeah, you have probably the MVP of the league in Patrick Mahomes against the greatest of all time in Tom Brady, who showed you today he's not exactly past his prime.
Rivers pass in the area of Keenan Allen.
You want to get excited about a football game? That's near the top of the list in a long time.
Question. Of course, they had that matchup to open the season in 2017 here.
Well, Andy Reid's giving them trouble.
And the Chiefs won that game.
Yep. Andy Reid is giving them trouble with Alex Smith, with Mahomes. He's figured out how to score points. Now, I don't think. I mean, this is at Kansas City. Kansas City's definitely. I think they're going to be favored in this football game. But I don't know. This is going to be really interesting because this is still Belichick and Brady, right? But it's Andy Reid's got himself a football team, and Reid really needs one Super Bowl to move way up on the list of coaches. Way up. He's outstanding, and he just needs to do it in postseason where he flies by 40% of them overnight.
Of course, Reid matched up with Belichick in Super Bowl 39.
That's right.
When the Eagles and the Patriots played, with New England taking it 24-21. 4:25 to go. Tough pass, and that one hops in the area of McCourty. I mentioned it a minute ago. This year, the Patriots now in 9 home games, including this one, trailed for a total of 7 minutes. Total. 3:47 in the first half against the Chiefs, and they trailed for another 3:13 during the final quarter against the Chiefs. That means the other 8 home games, they never trailed for a second.
Wow.
I mean, you never hear of anything like that.
No, that's
on the
incredible.
On the road, 3-5. The worst road record since 2009. Here's a 2nd and 10.
You know, when they played the Bills, and it was the Giants and Bills, and Belichick was the defensive coordinator in that game.
Super Bowl 25.
He went into that game and he tells his defense, he goes, guys, we're going to need to let them rush for 100 yards. Thurman Thomas needs to get 100 yards. And all season it's shut the run down, stop the run. He's like, for us to win this game, we're going to have to let them run for 100 yards. And he was like, what? I'm not entirely sure he's not going to say the same thing against this Chiefs team. Be like, guys, we're going to let them run for 100 yards, and we're going to shut down these big plays completely. Or try to, at least.
3rd and 10.
Yes,
Pass lofted, and Gilmore has it with the interception. Well, it was not quite the same stakes, but a little similar to that late defensive play where he knocked down a pass against the Jags last year in the AFC title game.
Wow.
This time he comes away with the football.
Give them credit for going to get him. A couple years ago, he's just continued to get better and better here. He's playing fantastic. Gave up the one big play earlier, but he really has played an outstanding football game outside of the big touchdown early. And of course, Tom Brady is still in the football game because that's what we do. We play football, and as long as there's a game on, we go out there and play.
That carry for about 2, and another flag comes down. Michel trying to add to his total.
Holding. Offense number 62.
Bring it back.
10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
Again, Maroon 5 will be center stage down in Atlanta.
The
Pepsi Super Bowl halftime show featuring Travis Scott and Big Boy. You can tune in right here on CBS February 3rd. Brady today 34 out of 44 for 342 and a touchdown. Got a timeout called by Los Angeles. Heard one of the great lines the other day. Let the viewers figure out who said it, but I don't even know exactly how we got there. But the comment was made that there's a difference between being a star and being a champion.
Was it me or who said that? I forget who that was.
You qualified for both.
Yeah, Tom Brady comes in. We were talking about some of the stuff, and you know, he's rare. It'll make him like him, and there's a reason why. There's another Hall of Famer right there, but it's a great line, and it's so true. Tom's different. Antonio Gates, incredible career, and he really played well this year as well.
I mean, the year that almost never happened for him. He basically had retired. The Henry injury takes place in May, and they go all the way until early September. And he comes back, and he wanted to make this journey. He was hoping to be able to go to that promised land with his longtime running mate, Phillip Rivers. Here's an end around to Patterson. Covered up by 3 Chargers. Our crew, our great crew, Mike Arnold, Jim Rickoff, have decided to go ahead and put it down on the graphic.
Whoa, this is early for them.
New England.
Our guys are living on the edge today. Putting the graphic down, completely saying they're calling it, huh?
The 1 and the 2. The second of the 2 championship games next week. NFC will go first. And then Arrowhead, Sunday night, 6:40 kick. Another timeout called by
I tell you,
Chargers.
It's a little ahead, but you got Rams, Chiefs, Patriots. I mean, if you took this in week 4 or 5, you thought these teams were the best teams. Outside the Patriots, you're like, okay, they're done every year. You know, they're never going to be in it. And then every year they're in it. But it's like you knew the Rams, you knew the Chiefs through 6 weeks. And the Saints were obviously dominating teams there in the middle stretch. And the Eagles found a way back in. But I'll tell you, this is shaping up. The best teams in the NFL are here at the end of the season right now.
3rd and 14. And the tackle down at the 33. Burkhead, who had his first postseason touchdown in that first half, got that carry. Of course, you got the Eagles and the Saints coming up next. We're down to...
Well, the Saints are still the better football team there, but I'll tell you, something about the Eagles, Foles playing, and the Eagles are talented. That D-line is still there. They still have plenty of ability, and they're the defending champs. You have to still beat them, but it's hard to go into New Orleans and win a game. This is going to be just a real tough task.
Flag off in the distance.
You almost have to survive that first half, I feel like. If you can survive the first half in New Orleans with that crowd,
delay of game.
You have a chance.
By the offense.
And if the Saints win,
it's 4th down.
That will mean all the teams that came out of the wild card weekend never got past the divisional round for the 6th consecutive year. You play those games, you come off a big win, you go on to the divisional round. So far, the first 3 coming out of last week have seen their season end. And if it is the Saints, it'll be the 1 and the 2 and the 1 and the 2.
Mm-hmm. But the thing is, those teams, I mean, they've been the best teams all year. They never really weren't. You know, sometimes teams come on, teams get hot, things happen, injuries to a key position. But you could go back to week 6, week 10, week 12. The Patriots were the only one, but they're back, and they're always in it.
Again, all 3 home teams so far have won this weekend, but you say go back to week 6. There'll be a lot of going back to week 6. That film, that footage, that game when Kansas City came in here on a Sunday night and played New England, that'll be looked at 100 times over because it was one of the better games. It got a little overshadowed, of course, because that crazy Chiefs-Rams game that took place a month later. But it was wild, 43-40.
I can promise you it won't be 43-40 in Kansas City next week. It's 15 degrees.
If we're lucky.
Yeah.
If we're lucky, if it's 15. The executive producers of the NFL on CBS, give a big shout out to our whole team here. Our executive producers, Sean McManus and Harold Bryan. President of CBS Sports, David Burson. Vice President of Remote Production, Steve Karasik. Today's game, produced by Jim Rickoff, directed by Mike Arnold. Our replay producer, Ryan Galvin, and Andy Goldberg as well. Associate directors, Brian Kozowski, Eric Spitzer. Here's the 2nd and 10. Over the head of Eckler. Shout out to our studio production team as well. Vice President of Studio Production for CBS Sports, Tyler Hale. NFL Today, produced by Drew Kaliski, directed by Bob Mattina. The creative director of CBS Sports is Pete Radovich Jr. Broadcast associates here on site, Brian Beamar and Adam Cohen, ACO. Technical manager is Pete Galander. Technical director Mike Tiffey. Audio supervisor Ed Soltis. Stats provided by Ethan Cooperson, Thomas Borstein, Josh Cohen, tremendous all season. Our spotters, Tom Spencer, Tom Brewer. Production managers, Katie McGuire, Johnny O'Conlon. Down the field and in danger of getting picked. And there are many more names. Just a big round of applause. Quiet round of applause, but a heartfelt one for all of our many members, men and women of the CBS Sports family who have been on this great season-long journey. A lot of them will be also jumping on, being a part of the action in Kansas City with us next week, as well as in Atlanta in 3 weeks' time.
Yeah, and I like some of those people. Not all of them, but some of them are really cool.
Let me know which ones.
Mostly the ones at the end. Those are the best. Those are my favorite, actually. We have a lot of great people here, and we work with the best. So
here's a 4th and 10. Just when you were starting to get heartfelt, I had to make sure we got Gates moving the chains. Think he comes back another year? We talked about Gronk in the first half. What about Antonio?
Yeah, it's a tough call.
They got a good thing going. You got a nucleus here, a team that's wasn't. You just know it's not a one-hit wonder what they built here with the likes of Derwin James on that defensive side, Ingram, Bosa, although wasn't there today for him. It's a 12-14 coming into the playoffs.
And they needed Gates, and he came in and he, with the Henry injury, he came in and played great, and he can't do it every play and be perfect, but he still shows flashes of the same player, and he can come up with the big plays, you can tell, and he really helped him this year. I think if he loves and really wants to keep playing, but you're putting your body on the line. I mean, it's going to be a family decision for him, I'm sure.
Rivers is sacked. Adrian Claiborne, the former Falcon, brings us to the 2-minute warning. The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Progressive Insurance, handing off big savings to you. And by Bud Light, reminding you not to drink and ride your horse. So off to Kansas City. That will be our next stop next Sunday night. The Chiefs coming off a dominating performance against the Colts yesterday. And one last thought about that one before we get to the last 2 minutes of suspense here.
The Chiefs and the Rams, everyone thought their Achilles heel was the running game, and these two teams were going to come in, the Colts and the Cowboys, and they were going to run around. And the reality of it is when they committed to it with everything, they really shut it down early in those games. And I think what you find is next week, this is a classic quarterback battle. You can remember the Elway, Montana Monday night game. We're getting it. It's not a passing of the torch because Brady could go for another 10 years, but this is one of those games that's just, you get a chance to see, Mahomes is going to be at that level.
12 second charge time out of the half, 30 seconds.
So you're not looking into any symbolism necessarily going into it?
Not yet. I haven't thought about it yet, but I would say, as we're going into that game, you got literally the guy who's played in 8 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
And 10 straight? Is it 10 straight AFC title games?
This will be the 8th coming up. This will be their 8th straight year in the AFC Championship.
Okay, well, this guy's 8 straight, and he's obviously played in more. Just 8 in a row, by the way, which is silly. He has 5 Super Bowls. He knows the game better than anybody on the field. And all you have to do is go and beat him in the biggest game of the year and of your career. At the same time, you have a team that is overwhelmingly talented at every position on the offensive side of the ball, with a coach who puts them in great positions and a quarterback who has a feel. It's just, this is a Bill Belichick special. He's got to come up with something incredible, I really believe, for them to go into Kansas City and win that game. Can he? Absolutely. But it's got to be something special.
19 yards to Tyrell Williams. 8 consecutive conference championship games. Here's one Tommy Spencer just slipped to me. The last time the Patriots actually won a road playoff game, because again, they're not going on the road all that often. They usually get the home field. Was back in 2006 in the divisional round at the Chargers. It was Phillip Rivers' first postseason game. They were the 1 seed coming off a 14-2 season. Last time they won a road playoff game. Jackson. And Van Noy on his back the whole way. State Farm post-game show coming up. I'm sure the entire crew is anxious to weigh in on what we're going to see next week at Arrowhead. So some first thoughts with 7 days to lead up to it. JB, Phil, Nate Boomer, Coach Cower. He'll get you prime for championship week coming up. Out of the backfield is Jackson. Yeah, Phillip Rivers had so much excitement about being able to have a chance to come back and play at New England again. They'd been in that AFC title game in 2007, going against what was an undefeated New England team that would end up losing in the Super Bowl to the Giants the first time. Rivers played the game, as you might recall, Tony, with a torn ACL. No one had any idea. LaDainian Tomlinson was only able to get a couple of carries early in the game, and he wasn't healthy. Antonio Gates, he had a foot issue. He barely played.
Hey, come on.
Rivers incomplete. Phillips gone over 300 yards on this drive for the game. 3:14.
And the frustration's coming out. Phillips yelling. He wants a hold on the play, and he's probably correct. But that's more of a frustration of the whole game, just coming out and knowing your season's over and still yelling at him. He's competitive.
Rushing for it. Able to fling it. Got a flag down in the offensive backfield as Eckler takes it near a first down.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense, number 54. Penalty is added to the end of the play. Automatic first down.
Hands to the face. Oh, yep.
Nope. And it's they're going to call that every time.
Phillips like, oh, now you do it. Look at, now you do it. Okay.
Exactly what he was saying.
That's just like, finally. I've been hit when the play wasn't even a play.
Where was that in the first quarter, he's saying?
He's the ultimate competitor. That's why he loves being out here. He doesn't miss games. He fights through anything. And yeah, great season, Phillip. You should be proud. It's going to feel bad, I know, you're moving afterward. But when the dust settles, you got a team around you. You're getting better.
Lead tight! Lead tight! Lead tight!
Drops back, goes to the end zone. And how fitting. It's Gates. If this is his last game, he could very well be going out with his last catch as a touchdown.
And I think that would only be fitting, and make it a corner route.
Yeah.
Just make it run a corner route because he's done it 1,000 times, and then throw it high and soft and let him
do what he did. Back to his college hoops days. Box out, get the position.
Catch it. Let's make sure he's in so we don't give him every superlative and it doesn't count. I think it works.
Confirmed.
It's confirmed. He's a legend. We're going to give it to him.
That can be confirmed. You didn't have to go upstairs to get that confirmed, did you?
No.
So now to try to bring it to 11.
Look at that. I mean, the Chargers are going to end this thing with, what, 30 points maybe if they get this?
Yes. With that one, they won't.
28
defending.
points. They never thought they'd give up 40 points in this game. They thought they had the defense and the speed and some of the players to really come in here and make it difficult. And another good play by Gilmore.
Ooh. They were trying to connect with Mike Williams.
Well, and see, that one, Phil's been right about most of them all day, but they let these guys grab each other in the 1 year. On these back shoulder fades, these fades, they let them just grab each other the whole time. Both players.
Take a look at another onside kick attempt.
We're going to have another 8-minute discussion on whether it should be outlawed or...
Changed your opinion yet?
Well, if they'd have got the last one, it would have been like, yeah, I like this. It's a lot more exciting. It makes the games closer.
Once again, it's Ebner. Exact same play. By the way, those of you expecting to see college basketball, Michigan State and Penn State, it will be available on CBSSports.com. We're going to get you out to that game as soon as our football coverage has concluded. The tip time on that, again, if you're looking for it, Michigan State, Penn State, 4:42 Eastern Time. And it'll be on CBSSports.com until the full network's able to join you after football coverage, including the State Farm post-game show. No, no Hoyer today.
Really thought he'd get a snap. That was the one I thought he might get. But you don't want to have the risk of a turnover there with a snap of the ball, so...
Started adding up all the possibilities come out of that.
We're going to keep Tom in. Well, you got to give New England credit. We talked about it all game. Fantastic job, execution, changing their scheme up on defense, and having the players who did it, and just Tom Brady, I'm telling you, that was an outstandingly executed football game, and he's throwing it as good as I've seen him in a long time. Two legends playing there. And here we go.
Kansas City, here we come.
And here comes the Patriots, Kansas City. This is gonna be fun. Kansas City's the best team. I really believe it. They're the best team in the AFC. But I think the Patriots, they still have number 12, and they still have Belichick. Oh, here we go. This is going to be great.
Brady pays respects to Antonio Gates. Look forward to it next week, pal. Arrowhead. Patriots and Chiefs play for the AFC title. We'll have it for you. Coming up next, the State Farm post-game show for Tony, Jay, Gene, Tracy, the entire crew. Jim Nance saying so long from Foxborough. We'll join James Brown in New York right after this.